How are you?
Hello. How are you?
I'm all right.
It's been a while.
It has.
Do you think they missed us?
I hope so.
I honestly, I can't believe how much time has flown since our last Wicked Women, and it just seems to have been just one, what do they call it? Curveball, and then another one. So we're here. We're here. We're doing our best.
Yeah.
And bear with us. We had some technical difficulties, but we're all sorted. And we have two of our lovely ladies missing tonight. We have the lovely Carly. She is unwell. She can't be with us tonight, so we send her our love and hope to see her soon. It won't
Absolutely.
be the same without her in the background waiting to pounce. And the lovely Michelle, she's not here as well. She was going to be here tonight, but she's been taken sick. So literally, we are Wicked Women tonight, me and you, Val.
Yeah,
And
we
may I
can
say,
do
you
it.
look very wicked tonight, woman. You look very wicked.
As do you in your hot red dress.
Well, I was like, what color do I come back in? And I was like, it's gonna be red. Just kind of need the
Oh,
horns to go with it.
I'm telling you, when I was getting ready, this was an afterthought because I got a new red shirt.
Yeah.
And when I ended up, it was down to here and it showed my bra and everything. I was like,
You're
yeah, I
like,
can't do
no.
that.
And that's the thing, it's like when you're on screen, you have to find something that you think is still going to look good on screen, and sometimes what looks good off does not look good on, so you probably did the right thing. We've had quite a few people send comments about when we were coming back and what we're going to talk about, and this is a subject that we were going to talk about back in late
Mhm.
August.
Yeah.
Can you believe it, that late August? And I've actually had a few people message me today about, would you tackle this on Wicked Women? So I was like, okay, we'll do that. And as the title says, Sexjected, which I actually think I've created a new word.
I think you're correct. I think you have.
Yeah. So when I picked Scotty says just lose the bra. If I don't put the comments up tonight, guys, forgive me, but it says Scotty says just lose the bra. That was his version of it.
But see,
Carlene's,
Scotty, with a bra on, they're here.
yeah.
With one off, they're like out and down. So you really can't see him anyway.
He's going Shazam. And Carlene says that she's packing but listening, so that's cool. One of these days we'll actually get Carlene to come on our show.
Will.
So when we're talking about sexjection, it's actually sexual rejection. Ken Balla says Scotty the man. Don't you mean too hotty Scotty, right?
Everybody, Scotty.
I'm just bringing up because I've had to come from the PC down to the iPad to the phone.
Trust me, we went through psychedelic land earlier.
It was the Twilight Zone.
Well, I thought I'd entered the Twilight Zone.
Oh my God. And I don't know why, because my signal has been good all day, and then all of a sudden you're about to start, and I'm just literally, bringing it. All the problems started. So, but we were talking about sexual rejection, and I don't know about you, Val, but I have been sexually rejected in my life, and I have sexually rejected people as well. Can you think of one that comes to mind and why you actually did it?
Well, I rejected.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I don't think it's everybody, but a lot of times when you're having problems with your significant other, and you've had problems for a long time, you're just like, okay, I'd rather you not be around me right now. Just, I'm good,
I think, any kind of rejection really, really hurts, because especially when it comes from somebody we love. Because we have that trust, that bond, that intimacy. And, when you first meet someone, it's kind of like, if you get on really well, there's the fireworks and everything is great. But there's a few people, the reason why this topic was brought up, there's a few people I've been speaking to, and some are very close friends, and some are just like, family as well. And they were like, it actually hurts to be rejected by somebody I love, even if it's just like casually, oh, no,
Mhm.
I'm not in the mood, or I've got to put the kids to bed, or it's the time of the month. But women do it too. Women reject men. As I said, men reject women too. I dated someone, absolutely adored the pants off him, and he could pick and choose when he wanted it. And I felt like, what's wrong with me? Why don't you want me?
See,
And he,
isn't that exactly what it makes you feel like? There's something
yeah,
wrong with you.
yeah,
It's, I mean, trust me, I think I've seen, I've rejected and I've been rejected. So it's,
yeah,
you know, I know what it feels like,
yeah,
but I didn't reject for the same reasons they did, if that makes sense.
yeah. I mean, it's something that, it's very hurtful when your partner rejects you, because in our minds rejection can be, is it someone else? Do they not find me sexy anymore? Do I not look the same as I thought? Is it my body? Am I not a good lover? We can then end up going completely nuts and checking phones and checking internets and
Yeah.
following them, and why don't you want me? And it makes you go into your head, and it's a very slippery slope. And I mean, for instance, for those that are married and had children and, have gone down that road, it's not always easy to get jiggly anymore, because, the kids are there, and next thing you know, hi, Dad, hi, Mom. So did you experience that in your relationships, in your marriage, when you had children, that you just couldn't, and your partner took it the wrong way, or was he okay?
Oh, yeah. Anytime there was a rejection, he took it the wrong way. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that a lot of men realize how much how much energy and how much it takes to, you know, have, in my case, I had 2 kids and taking care of them. And,
Hmm.
he worked swing shift. So, it wasn't like work all day, sleep all night. It was,
Yeah.
it was difficult, but, we had problems other than just that. So, if it had just been that, maybe it would have been different.
You probably know those nights that I'm going to talk about. Maybe you're feeling good, you smell great, you've got the sexy underwear on, and you're waiting like, tonight's the night, baby. We're going to do some sexual healing. It's going to happen. And they go, not tonight, dear.
Yeah.
I maybe tomorrow. In my marriage, in my second marriage, and he probably will kill me for actually probably saying it, but in my second marriage, it wasn't sexual. It really wasn't. It was to begin with, but it
Yeah.
wasn't sexual. And he just wasn't very sexually charged. And I used to wonder that he was like the Boy George comment, I'd rather have a cup of tea than I want to have sex. That's kind
Yeah.
of what it was like. And I remember, like, it got so bad, we only had sex on our anniversary. And that was once a year. And I'm thinking, why doesn't he want me? What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Are you seeing someone else? And then I realized, actually, it was actually to do with him. And I remember that he used to come up with this cuddle night. Let's have cuddle night on a Monday or Tuesday or whatever it was. And you'd be like, but that feels forced. It feels forced to
If you
have it on this
schedule
night.
it, it does feel forced.
You can't schedule something like that. It has to be natural.
Now, I will give it to the guys. I know that women turn men down a lot more.
Hmm.
There's there's not very many men that will turn it down. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Really? Do we know any?
But well, I know a couple, but you know, because it's happened. But
Yeah,
you know, but it does happen.
it does.
It's not something that just doesn't happen. It does happen. You know, albeit women turn them down more, but I think it just depends on the person. You know, if you know they're more interested in something else.
Well, when it becomes a television or playing a game or something like that. But I think resentment starts to come in, especially if you ended up not sleeping with your partner and your
Yeah,
partner and you're in separate rooms for whatever reason. And sometimes we have to sleep in separate rooms. Our partner keeps us awake, or the children are there, or, you know, we're not well. Sometimes we do sleep. But I think that intimacy, sexual intimacy, doesn't have to be all about sex. It's all about in the mind, it's touch, it's everything.
right.
But I think, and I do know of people who are feeling rejected, feeling resentful.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my notes here, that's what I'm turning to. And also the person who's less likely, you know, who's less likely to want it and does the rejecting, then becomes quite defensive, and then puts up a bit of a wall and says, you know,
Yeah.
sorry, but it's just not happening. Now, before I bring a gentleman in, and I'm just going to pick one at random, they're not going to know who it's going to be. Literally, all sitting there now going, which one is she going to pick? Because we have some gentlemen in the audience waiting for us tonight, which is lovely. But what would be the worst thing for you to reject someone? Why would you reject someone for sex?
At this time, at this age, it would just be sorry.
Cough it up, girl. Cough it up.
I got a cold.
Do you need a minute? Do you need a minute?
No.
That's okay. Don't worry. Like, what would
It
make
would
you
be
reject?
it would be just, you know, because I just don't feel the connection. I'm just not interested. You know, but it wouldn't be one of the harsh rejections.
For me, it's like if a man doesn't smell good, right? If he doesn't, if he smells stale, like stale sweat, he doesn't wash.
Ew.
If he hasn't made an effort, and if he's like, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's something really sexy about a guy that comes in from work and he looks and smells really good, right?
New sweat is different from
Exactly. But
stank.
sometimes you're like, I'm sorry, love, it's not going to happen. And also in an argument, if there's an argument, some people have the sexual makeup, right? But some people will reject you completely and go, bugger off. I'm not interested. You're not coming near me. And, you know, that resentment can grow. Some people will get over it easy. And also, as Colleen rightly puts, if you've been cheated on, do you actually want to sleep with someone who's cheated on you, or do you sleep with them, but and then you have it in your power and then reject them? Because I think all of those happen, and nothing kills the mood like the whole frustration, resentment, anxiety, and avoidance. And that's the thing that I think guys say quite a lot about us girls, is
Yeah.
that we use avoidance tactics, you know, trying not to look sexy, moving ourselves a certain way. Really? Is that all you think about? Is that all you want? And I'm sure.
I've actually been asked that before.
Really?
Yeah. Is that all you think about? No, but every now and again would be nice.
I have
But,
got,
you
let
know,
me see, I have got got my pick of men here. I'm going to bring the lovely, this
something
lovely
I
man
will
in.
never say.
Hello, Keith.
Hey, how you doing?
Thank
I'm
you.
good. I'm good. Hey there.
Lucky man, you're the first one in. Keith, we're talking about obviously sexual, you know, sexjected, being rejected, but there's lots of reasons why people get rejected for sex. And I also think menopausal women will not be interested in, perhaps, or perhaps they will be, but we're just going to go for the ones that don't feel sexy, that haven't got that natural mojo, and so they're like, I just don't I just don't want you. And then your partner takes it personally and they're like, well, and have you actually had said this to you? Well, I'll just go and get it elsewhere if you don't want me. Have you had that done, Keith?
Oh yeah. And I was that guy back in the day. If they said no, for whatever reason, it would upset me. I'd get upset. There'd be discussion about it. Now I realize there are many different reasons why they might not be in the mood, whatever, health reasons, ton of different reasons. And that needs to be taken into consideration. I guess I never really thought about it, but I guess my last girlfriend, I rejected. But it was due to the trauma from the fire and the loss of my pets.
Yeah.
There was just no drive.
No.
Nothing. I mean,
no, I can understand that.
For months. But I did find there was another cause. There were starting to be some issues before the fire, and it started tapering off, and part of the reason was her. As soon as she left, boom, about a month later, I got more done on the house, realized I can do this, started healing, and all of a sudden, guess what? I'm back.
Does it feel like two blondes are above you and lording it over you, Keith, right now? Because basically we are.
Hey, I'm a Scorpio. I'm all right with it.
We have got it's Val on one side and me on another, and I just thought we're like goddesses looking down at you, going, "Come on, tell us yourself." Worship us, right? When you got rejected for sex, as now and back then, what's grown in you that's made you not take it personally or be resentful, Keith?
I think about my partner, what kind of a day they've had. Are they tired from work? Do they feel all right? Are they having some personal issues? I actually stop and think when they, if they say no, okay, what's going on? You all right? I try to make sure they're okay. And I just take that into consideration. In return, I expect the same thing. I come home from work sometimes and I am just dog tired. It gets 110, 115 degrees in there in the summer. And when you work, when you go home, you're tired. So, Scotty. And if I don't feel good, sometimes it just, if you're sick, it's just not, nah.
I had to bring my screen husband in, otherwise he would have.
Hey, screen wifey.
Hello, husband.
I didn't know I was there. I was watching the YouTube and I heard Keith go, "Scotty." And I thought, did I get brought in? And I didn't see myself. Then I popped in because of the delay. So now I know I'm here.
That's all, because it's quite nice to have you individually. And I was just saying, now
yes,
we're
it
losing it. We're losing it over you. Now, I've had this said to me, and Val, I'm sure you have, and I'm sure Scotty can give his view. Have you ever not wanted sex and the guy's gone, "That's all right, you can just give me a blowjob, right? You can just give me a blowjob or a hand job. It's fine," right? And you're like, hang on a minute, that's not what I actually said. What I actually said was, I wasn't feeling like it. Have you ever said that, Scotty, put you on the spot? And have you had that done to you, Val?
Before Val answers, let me just say, I tried this once with my wife. It was a joke, but it didn't get me very far. I said, "So how about a little, let's do it. Let's go. And she's like, "I'm having my period, and I go, "Woohoo, blowjob week." And that did not go over big. And I said, honey, I'm just kidding. I'm a much more sensitive male than that. So I said, I get it. Okay. But we also used to say, if it's period week, that's like war paint. Oh, war paint.
Oh, it's so gross.
Oh, let's play war. So sorry, had to say it. That was yeah. I've experienced that before. It's not a big deal. If my wife doesn't, or my partner at the time doesn't feel, you know, right? Using past.
If she's not in the mood, you're
if
like,
she's not in the
it's
mood
okay.
because of menstruation, that's okay. I just act like Levitical laws in place. Don't come within 10 paces of a menstruating woman. Okay. All right. Thank you, Moses. And
I
yeah.
I think it's probably the most, to say that to a woman, we're kind of like, really, you know, when it does get brought up. And then you've had the other one mentioned as well. I don't know about you, Val, but
Hey, wait. Can I interrupt you for a second?
Of course you can.
Who the hell is Slumdog Billionaire?
I was just looking at that.
Scotty sounds like a disgusting person. Glad his wife left him. Well, my wife didn't leave me. So,
mine left me, but it was ended up being a good thing. So I'm all right with that.
No,
yeah.
I can't
my
see
wife
the
and I were
comments,
divorced
but
22 years ago, my ex-wife, and I got sole custody of my kids. So I made out all right. I'm not a disgusting person, but I do like good comedy. And if you're insulted by good comedy, maybe you need to go figure out how to be funny.
that's on you. It's not on us.
Just
every night for Tyrone. There it is. Okay. Thanks.
See, I wait for you guys to tell me what people are saying because I can't see it. So.
Oh, yeah.
I can't see the comments. So
Rudy,
I have to say that I am not. I mean, Scotty can probably see the comments better than I can because I'm literally using my iPad tonight, so it's coming up very different. But it's everybody has a sense of humor on the subject, and one thing about our show on Wicked Women, we don't take kindly to people making nasty comments about our guests. So if you can't say something nice or constructive, please don't. Otherwise, we will have to.
Who knows? Slumdog might be a friend of mine, so I have no idea.
Well, it might be, but hopefully not with friends like that.
Yeah. We don't like hateful comments, and we don't like drama. So
yeah, I don't take anything like that personally. It's like I say with
but it's just rude.
Everything in life, you can't insult me because I would have to appropriate your insult in order for it to offend me. And it's like Doc Holliday said in the movie Tombstone. So if I have to be offended by your insult, I must first respect your opinion.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So, you know, it takes, I don't know who you are. So,
I don't know, Scotty, you've not even been on the show a couple of minutes and you're going down a storm already.
I'm already getting your guests riled up.
I know. It's like I need to bring you on more often.
There it is.
The thing is, if you keep getting turned down and feeling rejected and being rejected, when they do eventually turn around and go, oh yeah, okay, make it 5 minutes, or in between the washing machine, or in between this program. Keith, have you had that done to you?
Oh yeah. Just
did you take advantage of that situation? 5 minutes and still do it?
Sometimes it was few and far enough between that yes, I took full advantage of that 5 minutes and I got the job done. Normally it
you
takes
got 5 minutes, baby.
If I only got 5 minutes, yeah, we're gonna get the job done. Just saying.
my wife said that to me once. It was about 9 years ago. I had just come back from being away in Egypt for a month. And I got home and I'm down in my office in the morning. I'm going through emails. My wife comes down the stairs, Rainey. She comes down the stairs naked. And some of you have heard this story before, but she comes down the stairs naked into my office and she goes, kids are watching cartoons. You got 8 minutes, boy. And I said, yes, we can do it twice. So, and then about 2 weeks later to 3 weeks, somewhere in that range, she comes down the stairs. Very similar scenario, only this time she's got clothes on. And she sticks a pregnancy test in my face. She says, what does that look like? I back up and I go, you mean the little red cross? I said, is that positive you're not pregnant or positive you are? And she says, I'm pregnant. I thought you were going to take care of this problem because we already had 2 kids and we had talked about me getting the snip, snip. And I said, I am so sorry. I said, I talked to my doctor about it. And I said, we just haven't made an appointment. She goes, yeah, talk is cheap. She goes, you're not getting any for 9 months, buddy. And I'm like, I'll go take care of it today. She goes, too late. So I did eventually.
That's one of those things you really can't wait till after. It's not
right. So,
I want to just invite and say hello because Elvis, I believe, is waiting in the wings.
Elvis.
Well, he was, but he's gone now.
Elvis.
Elvis, come back.
Come into the building.
I just want to welcome KB is here, the lovely Mr. Fabulous KB.
Yeah. I got one thing.
Fabulous.
Thing to say.
What?
I got one thing to say. I got one thing to say. You know what it is?
What was that?
You're garbling up, Ken.
I think you got YouTube open up behind your StreamYard. I think he's got both of them open.
Yeah,
So,
something's
Michael,
going on.
See if you can turn down the sound on your YouTube.
Let's bring you in. I want to bring this question in, and Val and I can talk from experiences here. Some men don't like a woman to be the pursuer. Like she, the woman who wants sex, she wants to initiate it. And it's always seen that men have a stronger libido and they are the notorious pursuers and hunters, which is probably true in lots of words. However, women can be huntresses too. And if we want it, why can't we go and get it as well?
Damn straight.
Now, if you're not feeling up for it, if you boys aren't feeling up for it and you're not up for sex and you're feeling unwell or you're mentally not feeling great, and the woman's pursuing you, KB, what would you do? What would you do?
I've never felt that bad. I mean, I'd be laying there and maybe ain't anything, but when my little friends start to twitch, it's all over.
Ken, I think your microphone has its Virginian accent filter on because you're all garbled.
I don't know why.
I think he's got YouTube open with screen.
Come back in, baby. Come in, come out, back out.
Yeah.
I can't understand you, Ken. Sorry.
Michael, let's come to you.
I did hear him say he's never been that sick.
Yeah.
Oh, never been that sick? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
So
kind of
Michael,
like, guys, we're on our deathbed.
Yeah.
And if you come and stand in front of us naked or in some great lingerie or a sweatshirt and blue jeans, you could stand there and go, I need some now. And we're like, give me a second. Okay, I'm good.
Is that
good.
true?
Come on.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You could be missing a leg, an eye.
Yeah.
Bad car wreck, and it's like,
I don't need that leg.
yeah, it's just okay. Hey,
I guarantee they could be in a full body cast and their hand would still be like trying to get you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
You want to talk about
Just a little bit more.
Step over here.
you want to talk about true stories? I broke my leg really, really bad. I had a cast plumb up to my butt, and that's when my ex-wife got pregnant with my middle son. And the doctors,
Obviously, it was still working.
There's a will, there's a way.
hey, I told him, I said, that doctor's like, now, how does that happen? I said, it just does. He's like, but I told you to be still. I'm like, well, I was.
But what do you find though? Like, I mean, what are your turns off? Let's look at Val and I were talking about some of our turn offs with men and what makes us not want to have sex. Obviously, cheating, abusive,
Sure.
don't smell good, basically a lousy lover will do that for you if you you're like, oh god, I really know what I'm going to get from this.
We're talking about a dead fish.
So what would make you, I mean, let's look at you, Michael. Give me a situation in your life where you emotionally sexually rejected someone and your reasons why.
Just shitty attitude. She was a drunk, and nobody wants to curl up beside of some alcoholic that smells like the bottom of a bourbon barrel. That they don't want that. And it's like, everybody's like, oh, I can't believe you're sleeping on the couch. I'm like, I don't want to lay beside that. You wake up, it's almost like an Amber Heard situation. And I'm like, no, we grown ass people, you know, we don't do that. And then people couldn't believe that I was like, no. So I got a spare. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
How did that make her feel? And how did she react to you rejecting her?
Oh, she just bitch pissed and moaned, but I didn't care. Like I said, you just get a spare.
And have you been rejected sexually?
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel?
You get a spare.
So if one rejects you, you find another.
Yeah. And that's usually what happens. If you want to push somebody away into somebody else's arms, you know, withhold emotional or physical touch or whatever, then that happens.
Well, I think on that point, I think, and I'm not at all coming down on you, Michael. I think a guy sometimes, when you are in a relationship with somebody, it doesn't take somebody just telling me no to push me into somebody else's arms.
No. Like
It would take
it's a water
perhaps a
bottle.
whole litany of things or a bullet pointed list, or, you know, 2 years later you go,
So if it goes on continuous for a while.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You know, and it's like, and when that happened, she was like, whatever. And the girl told her, said, well, your trash is my treasure. You know, you had this, you treated him like trash. You talked to him like trash. You told everybody, you know, all this other stuff that was not true. And now you're mad that somebody cherishes what you threw away. And I thought, damn, that's pretty deep. I never looked at myself like that, but all right.
Well, it's a very
Am I
true
hearing
thing.
crickets? Crickets?
I can
somewhere?
hear
Yeah,
crickets.
you're here in the background. I get muted.
Yeah,
I got
that's
this.
You all can hear those too?
Yeah.
I
I
got
thought
a
it
big
was inside my head.
I thought it was
Ken,
inside my head.
Now we can hear him. Let's come to the lovely Ken. Ken,
Yes.
have you been rejected
Oh, we
sexually
all
by
been
a woman?
Be truthful about it. Yes, we all have been rejected. You know, I mean, what you gonna do? I mean, you're not gonna force yourself on them. I mean, once or twice, but if it continues to do that, I mean, hey, bye. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna beg any woman for sex. You know, that's just me. You know, if you got a relationship going on, why beg? You shouldn't beg at all. But say then you have a tendency to finding women that wants the guy. They'll run behind him and get him and all that. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, they got married and things start to dwindle. She quits wearing the makeup. She quits doing things that would used to excite the guy. That's what was side. And then again, blame the guy, but you can also blame the woman. I mean, you know, what happened to the little small stuff you used to do to be exciting and things like that? A lot of women have a tendency to just stop and all the way. I got him. Nobody's gonna get him but me. You know, then that's what happens. I mean, I'm just like it or don't like it. I'm okay with that. You know.
I want to tell you, Fairy Cowgirl.
This
The one, yeah, that's Emily.
Yeah.
Ken is too young.
That's
to know
my daughter.
Oh, maybe she
have
didn't
you-
want her identity revealed, Mom.
Yeah, you
Sorry
just gave
about
it
that.
away now. Ken, have you?
It's too good not to give her a shout out. That was pretty good.
Ken, have you rejected someone as well for sex? Have you turned them down?
For me,
Yeah.
me, what? Are you kidding me? No, yeah. I will say this short story. Many years ago, I went out with the judge's girlfriend, and she invited me over one night. So I went by there. I mean, I put every way but you lose, from the head to the side, you name it. And I heard a whimper. I thought it was me. I should have had a mirror put it on the nose since she was breathing. And then she go ahead and ask me, would you want to stay tonight? I told her, look, I gotta get her to go to work. You know, no, she wasn't gonna kill me. I mean, it was dead. I mean, she was hot looking, but she was dead. I mean, no, I'm not gonna kill myself.
I have to ask you something, Ken.
Be careful. What you have.
You said she was dead from the beginning.
Yes.
Did you just get up and leave, or did you finish?
You finish what you're doing. I mean, you don't stop for nothing. But I heard a whimper. I thought maybe it was her. Then again, I thought maybe it was me. Well, I don't know. Then she would say, "Would you want to spend a night tonight?" And as I was thinking, well, I got to get out of this one.
It didn't make you stop though.
No.
You're not gonna kill me. No, you don't. No,
I didn't think so.
no, hell no. I mean, being honest with
I have been in the situation where I have been sexually rejected. First of all, obviously I brought up my husband, but there was other people I dated and they had their whatever reasons for doing it. And it's how they go about it. I was in a situation, Scotty will be aware of this one, where I was dating a guy and he had an issue in the downstairs department, and we'd gone to look at a stately home, and he was all over me like a rash, just put it that way, all over me, all these nice children and families going, you know, and I was like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. We're not doing it here. We're in a stately home. It's not happening. And then when I got home, I was like, let's go for it. And he was like, no, you rejected me. You didn't want it. So now you can go without. And I'm like, I was in a public place with children and families, and I'm not going to like just bend over the hedge here with all the nice cameras on, you know, like, so it's like, hi, is that my National Trust membership gone down there, gone down the Swanee?
Telling you that there's a difference between a fetish and a felony.
But then they turn nasty, you know, because then when I became the predator and I was after it, I then got accused of being a violator, that I violated them, that I took that. And therefore, you know, I almost raped them. And I was like
really?
Really?
Yeah. Every day, you know, that's the worst thing I think is going to happen to me. I want to get some beautiful woman.
I honestly, I mean, I know it happens. Don't get me wrong. But it's rare that a woman rapes a man.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Can't rape the willing. But on you talking about
Can't
sex
rape the willing. Is that what you said?
Yeah. You know, like I said, you know, I got a friend here, and Wendy knows who I'm talking about. But she, you know, she's older, and she met this really nice guy, and she called everybody. It's like, I've got a gentleman caller coming by tonight. If you need anything, fuck off. You know, because you know, basically, you know, and she's like, you know, and most of them I'll look after her dogs or whatever. And I'm like, well, if you need anything, you know, send out a SOS, you know, we'll come save you. And she's like, I'm 60 years old. I don't need no damn saving. I'm like, okay. To you, grandma, you know, you're not going to get pregnant, you know.
There you go.
You know, and so, you know, I thought it was funny. In the next couple of days, I seen her. She was mad at the world. I thought, God damn, you know, you brought this man over to your home. You picked everything up. You know, you cooked him a good meal. And come to find out, like I said, you know, we're really close friends, and I've told Wendy the story, and I couldn't figure out why she was so mad. She kept trying to ease him back to the boudoir, or whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to
The boudoir.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, where the booty happens. And finally, he said,
That's where that comes from.
Yeah, yeah. And
Not everybody in the Southwest is like that.
no, and
Just
so
saying.
he finally told her. He said,
Just saying.
Just saying. And he said, I don't know why you're trying to ease me back up. Or he said, he don't work like he used to. And she looked at him and she said, well, goddamn, you could have told me that before you came over, and I fed you and had high hopes. And she was mad for a damn week or so.
Wow.
She was.
I fed you and everything.
Yeah, I fed you and everything. And now the little bastard don't work. He can't make roll call.
The thing is, that's a very good point, because men seem, Keith, to have this libido that just goes up and down really, really, you know, you know, just like this. But hormonally, for a woman, it's very, very different, especially when we're in menopause, post, or just, you know, going through it. If we have health issues, and if also we, as I said, well, Scotty wants to put it, menstruation. But sometimes we just can't, and it means, like, you know, we shut down. I remember for a year not wanting to have sex, not because I didn't want it, but because I didn't feel it in my body. I didn't feel my body respond. It was just like I was dead. And Christy comes up with a very good point when she says, and I want you to answer this, Keith. You know, most men make no effort, and this is really a very point that I'm a stickler on. Most men make no effort out as far as appearance. after they get their woman, because when they're chasing her, they're looking good, they're smelling good, you know, everything's great.
No, I
But
didn't.
when they get them, when the chase is over, they expect the woman to still be the name, waxing, your nails done, your hair looking good, your thong. And it's like, come on, you know, she's right. Guys,
Let
we
me
need some
ask.
She's
effort
right. She is
too.
right. And
Let me ask.
I'm
Oh,
a little
go ahead,
different
Keith.
than most guys. When I enter into a relationship, I'm not the kind of guy that likes a ton of makeup. You don't have to do your nails. You don't have to get up and spend 3 hours putting your makeup on, doing your hair for me. When you wake up and your hair's a mess, that's when you're most beautiful to me.
You know,
So, I mean, but I also try to keep my appearance up, you know, even after getting into a relationship, you know, out of respect for them.
So you would say that you should always make an effort with for your woman.
I do. I personally try to, you know, I mean,
I
I'm not
think
going to
that's
sit here and gain 500 pounds, you know, after I get into a relationship, or, you know, shave my head to a mohawk or something, you know, it's just, you know, you stay clean shaved and, you know, you take a shower every day and, you know, you dress up nice and, you know, you do the thing. But there's also
because women are driven visually.
Yeah.
We're driven visually, and
But-
we're also by smell as well.
But have you noticed that a lot of times, what attracted the man to the woman to begin with, once they have that woman, they want to completely change all that. They want her to stop doing all that stuff.
A lot of men can do
Yeah,
that.
because they're
You know, it's like,
looking.
well, that's who I am. That's what attracted you to me to begin with. But now you want me to change.
I wouldn't make
Scotty, what were you going to say?
No, what Christy Goins said. I would say my first question would be to everybody, how do we know what that statistic is? And Christy, I'm not taking you to task anything here, but you say most men make no effort as far as appearance after they get a lady. Now, is that just a thing we know in general? Because most of my male friends are decent guys that would not be slouches and would not let themselves go to hell. Some of them had put on weight. I weigh 50 pounds more than I did when my wife met me. And she's, you know, a little bit of weight up, but not much. And, but she's had 3 kids. I haven't. So I believe in always trying to, I've had times where my wife has approached me and I'll say, I am not showered or nothing. Let me get a shower first. And sometimes they just go, I don't care. I just need you now. And it's, you know, whatever. And I'm like, you know, approach at your own risk. But I'm like, why don't we just go take a shower?
Yeah.
And we can do that together.
Why don't you come with me and wash your ass?
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
So there is that.
Nothing's more sexy.
And that's something I agree with, guys. And by the way, I have never tried to change my wife for any desire I have, as far as, oh, why don't you wear red lipstick instead of skin tone lipstick or whatever, you know? And I've never done that. If my wife approaches me with makeup and her hair done, it's like, wow, zowie, shazam. If my wife approaches me and she said, wow, I've had a long day, and or in the morning, I don't have any makeup on, my hair's not done, and I'll say, here, let me get that rose out of your teeth and let's go. No, it doesn't matter to me. Now, that's maybe my personality. There's not, what did somebody just recently said to me? And I don't know if it was Rainey or if it was somebody else, but I was talking to an old friend of mine, and we're just arranging, he and his wife and Rainey and I are going to go out for dinner in a couple of weeks. That's how it's gotten. We got to put a date like that on a calendar. But we're talking, and he says, so how are things going with you and Rainey? I said, well, we're in our 18th year. We're doing all right. And, you know, and I said, I put on a little bit of weight. Rainey's put on a little bit of weight since you last seen her. I said, but she still looks good. He says, is that a problem for you? I said, nope, not at all. I think she's just as sexy, and so on and so on and so on. You know, all those visceral visual things.
But you know,
I don't have a problem with that. We're getting older. I'm getting older. I'm 20 years older than Rainey to begin with, and we're now 18 years into our relationship. So she's just now getting to the age I was when we first started dating. And so, you know, it's she doesn't look like she's 26 anymore. I don't look like I'm 44 anymore. You know, so I don't think any of that matters. If you love the person, I love the person.
Absolutely.
That
Now, is everything perfect between Rainey and I? No. Do I get rejected by Rainey sometimes? Yeah. It's like that comedic bit I saw where the guy brings up all the reasons why his wife doesn't want to have sex. and it's very comedic. I'll say to Rainey, do you realize out of the last 365 days, you have rejected me 362 times for sex or something?
And how does that make
nature.
you feel? I mean, Scotty, you talk about it as it's very matter of fact,
Yeah.
but everybody's aware of it.
And I'm
We
making up
talked about
numbers,
it.
by the way, there.
But it's like it does hurt and it does
Sure.
go deep, and it also plays in your head, right?
Well,
Because
I always play it lighthearted with my wife.
yeah,
There's times we've had serious conversations. I go, well, why not tonight? It's a good night. Kids are all asleep. And she says, yeah, but that's the first night I have to go to sleep early. That's too much work tonight. It's this, it's that. And I'm like, okay. But I'll usually do the comedic thing in our relationship. If I get rejected, I always go,
but
okay,
when you're
I'll
doing
go
that,
look at
when you're
some
doing
porn.
that, what are you actually feeling? What are you
Yeah.
actually thinking, though, Scotty? When that
Right.
actually happens, what are you feeling?
If it's just a single time, I don't feel much of anything. It's like, okay, I get it. I'm feeling disappointed at first. It's disappointment for, you know, a one time, or every now and then you get disappointed. You go, oh, okay. Sorry, I'm not the Renaissance male, and I was not so tuned into you that I didn't realize that tonight would be a bad night.
But I think that's one of the main things, though. You know, if it's every now and again, it's no big deal on either side.
Yeah, it's
But
not
if
a
it-
big deal.
But if it's a continuous thing on
If it's
either
a
side,
continuous thing. Here's
then
what would happen.
it messes with your head.
yeah, and if
Let
you
me
have no
tell you-
patience for your partner, there's an issue with you, not them.
If I went for, let's just pull a number out. If I went for 2 years and my wife rejected me every time I wanted sex for 2 years, I would probably pull her aside and say, if not before the 2-year limit, and say, is there a problem between us?
Now, I was going to say,
What's
are you
the
going to wait 2 years? Really?
And yeah, I
tell
wouldn't
you
wait
what
2 years. So
I'll tell you what you do, Scotty. You can do one or two things. You can go in at nighttime with a Red Bull in one hand and an aspirin in the other. Offer the aspirin, I don't have a headache. Well, then you offer the Red Bull. Well, I'm not
there's some
tired.
energy.
So, you know, if you're not tired, you don't need an aspirin. Hey,
Yep.
what else?
Game
Is
on.
there?
Would that be
Well,
considered proactive?
That's proactive.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's easy to joke about that, but the thing
Yeah.
is, there is also an emotional thing behind rejection.
Yeah,
it's
right.
like somebody doesn't want you for something, whether it's, you know, they don't want to get close to you, they don't want to have intimacy with you for whatever reason. And sometimes it isn't because of the menopause, or it isn't because they're tired, or it isn't because of the kids. It's because of the dynamics between you and them. And it's like you have to look at that relationship and in the cold light of day and go, what am I getting out? And what, you know, because I'm putting a lot in, pardon the pun, because I always say a relationship should be like a bank. You invest, you both invest in it. And if one of you's giving and the other one's taking. So actually, yes, you can joke about here's a paracetamol, here's a hot drink, here's all that. But actually, if you keep getting rejected by the same person, and maybe you can't leave that situation, maybe you can't, it cuts deep. I was married for 6.5 years, and I had a good-looking young husband who was fit as hell, and he just wasn't into it. He just wasn't into sex. It affected me so badly. I never looked elsewhere. I didn't go elsewhere because I took my marriage vows seriously. And I think that if you take your marriage vows seriously, you should take them seriously until there's a time to end it. And obviously our marriage did end in divorce, but I think that, like Scotty's saying, you try and you keep going and you keep giving, and you keep thinking tomorrow's the day it's going to change. Tomorrow it's going to be this way and the other, and it doesn't. And I think that it's very good to joke about it because there are some comedic sides. But Keith, I'm sure you'll understand, and Michael, bringing in both of you, because Michael was very blatant about the fact that he was like, well, I just went and got another. That's very easy to do. Anyone can go out and get another lover just like that, right? It's far harder to tackle that situation. Go, this is not working anymore. I don't want to be with you, so let's get out of it.
Well,
right?
actually, I said that. I told her, I said, hey, you're going to drink, you're going to continue to do this. Nobody is irreplaceable. Oh, you'll never find another one like me. I said, goddamn, I hope not.
But why didn't you leave?
Because it's my house.
But do you really think that was a good reason?
No, not really. I should have burned it down.
Because life is really short, and you're wasting all your time on someone who doesn't see your worth. And Keith, let's bring you in here. Like, you can see that mentally, there can also be a power thing, a power trip behind it as well. I'll have you when I want you. And a lot of people get off on that as well.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And it does do damage if you get rejected over and over and over an extended period of time. You start wondering what is wrong with you instead of what is wrong with the relationship. That's how I used to think. Okay, what I do, what's wrong with me? Why isn't this happening? Now I would look at the relationship. I know there's nothing wrong with me. I have healed like no other mother. I can have that conversation with you. Hey, this isn't happening. Can we sit down and talk about it? And I will listen to her to understand her point and where she's at, instead of to respond and win an argument like I used to do. So, I mean, it's communication. If it's not happening and you're having an issue with it not happening, then you need to sit down with your partner and have the conversation.
Yeah.
So maybe what you did, Michael, and I'm using this as an example, is what a lot of men do and a lot of women do. They emotionally respond to being rejected and go, well, if you don't want me, someone else will, right? And I'll go and get someone else. And having that other person to come in, and yes, it makes you feel great. We've all done it, had someone else come in and made us feel great. Is it a temporary scratch to that itch because the situation is still there under the surface?
Like Keith said, and the other day on Scotty's show, the professor said something really good. And he said, the older you get, the better your bullshit detector becomes.
Yeah. Professor Bauer said that. Yeah.
Patrick, thank you for joining us. I've not seen you on here before. Do we know Patrick?
No.
I've never seen him before.
I don't know Patrick. I don't think so.
No.
Hey, I'm in the waiting room, ready to call in whenever ready.
Let's bring Patrick in and see what he's got to say. Let's add him and see who he is. Hi, Patrick.
Nigger.
Oh, Lord,
Nigger.
That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
Isn't it lovely? You're just having this kind of conversation, and then that comes in, right?
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, better than you.
Better. Oh, yeah. Hey, gravity.
I'm not in the greatest of shape, but I don't look like that when I put my ass to the mirror.
I guarantee you that's not his bottom. I guarantee you that's not his bottom, right?
How do you get a picture of me? I want to know.
People do that all the time. When I get people to call the show and I don't know who they are, I tell them, why don't you go into the chat room and introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Let my moderators take a look at you and introduce yourself. Let us know about you.
It makes you think that they've got nothing else better to do in their tiny lives, which is like, right, let's go on there and actually, it's like, grow up, get a life.
I say a guy like that, it's probably not his real name, but a guy like that is probably a guy who is in his 40s, he lives in mom's basement, wears Coke bottle glasses, still has Def Leppard or Metallica posters on his wall to his black lights, and masturbates to porn because he can't get a chick. So that's the kind of guy I see that puts up stuff like that.
Well, I mean, like, it's just, that was the spice of the evening. I mean, how can we top
there
that?
it was. That was the spice of his evening.
Well, it probably was. Ken has gone and taken his crickets with him. The other thing I was going to say, though, if you rejected your partner, right, for whatever reason, and they went elsewhere, and I'll be back in 1 second, how would it affect you? Val, take over for me, Sec.
I guess it would depend. I think it would depend on the status of the relationship you were having to begin with. If you were having just a normal, everyday, happy relationship, you reject them one time and they go out, then you're going to think differently.
Right.
Than if you were, having trouble for years and then, it was like the last straw.
But they should use that as a blackmail thing. So, if you don't give it to me here, I want to go get it there.
Oh, absolutely not. Because I would be the first to say bye.
See ya.
Bye.
I'm not gonna go.
But and since she stepped away, Keith was talking about.
Sorry, I gotta mute my
about
mic.
the no makeup or stuff like that. I remember the first time I saw Wendy with no makeup orders. She's getting ready for bed, and I told her, I said, "You look lovelier, more lovely, like this than you do." And she's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I prefer this look," and she thought that I had bumped my head again because I did it several times. And I told her, I said, "No," I said, "It is a more intimate look for me because, the rest of the world is shut out. You get ready to throw it in and go to sleep and everything." And I told her, I said, "It's very lovely." And
when I wake up in the morning, I look, like a dragon troll and sound like one. So I would probably scare people. But yeah, I mean,
But we recognize you. That's the thing. You don't really, to me, it's like my wife. I still recognize you without makeup. You're still the same person if you have makeup on or you don't. All makeup is you're doing the little frills to look good. And I said, it does. It looks good. Like if I don't shave for a week or I don't bathe or my hair's sticking all up, it's still me. But I don't want to present that to my wife.
No.
My wife sees it every morning. I wake up every morning and I'm like, oh, hey. And we're always kind of like this because we're like, don't breathe on me. Don't let me breathe on you yet. I gotta go.
Let me interrupt before anybody gets mad at me for giving Valerie. Me and Valerie goes back and forth, and it's out of fun. Before anybody gets hurt, we're grown up enough to have fun like that because I know the guy got Scotty over the whole face paint thing.
Hey, if it doesn't bother me, it shouldn't bother anybody else.
And I was just going to tell him that,
and that's said for effect. I only said that for effect. That was something I said with a friend of mine 30 years ago. He was the first guy that ever said that to me. He goes, yeah, his wife was Robin. And he said, yeah, Robin, when she's having her period, I just go, ooh, war paint. And I go, oh, I don't know if I should use that one or not. But that was 30 years ago. Now it's funny.
It's funny, but gross.
Was that your bottom? Because you disappeared and then that bottom come on. Was that yours?
That was KB.
What about your bottom?
That was cancer.
Let me since KB's here. KB put out false information about me the other day I heard about.
Oh, what did he say?
I was 5'4", like 2 inches bigger than a troll. And I'm like, I've been accused of a lot of things, but short, never.
Don't be hating. Don't be hating. Don't kill the messenger. That's all I can say.
That's right. That's right.
I told him I was short. I'm like, but
I'm going to go around to each of us, and I want you to think of a situation which really made you feel bad when you were rejected or you rejected someone. Because the thing is, no one should have sex if they don't want to, and it can create problems if you're feeling you have to do it for someone, or if you don't do it. And also then it also becomes the whole let's not talk about that subject, because the moment we talk about that subject, it comes into a huge row, and then as he said, she said, you don't do this, I don't do this, and it gets bigger, so you just don't talk about it anymore, and it becomes the elephant in the room. And I also feel as well that you have to be honest with yourself and your partner. So if your husband or wife is a workaholic, they come home, they'll work, then they're at home, they come in, they just want to chill out, they want to watch TV, they want to eat dinner, eat crap, and they might not be in the mood for it. Fair enough. But if that situation was to go on and on and on and on, you get to a point where you're like, either they change or we have to change. So as I said, no one should feel forced to have sex. There should be no time that anyone puts a gun to your head to make it happen. That should not happen. So we're not saying that at all. But there are times that women, and I'm using women as we are wicked women feel forced to have sex. Women do feel forced to have sex to please the guy, to make him feel like, oh, all right, come on then, you got 5 minutes, get it over. We do feel forced to have it sometimes. And sometimes we don't want to have it. We just want to, like, maybe we're just not, whatever the reason is. And it's not because we're rejecting you, it's because we actually don't want to, because either our hormones are up and down, or we're pissed at you, or we're just not there. And it's the same with guys. I'm not talking all the time, and there's some weird ones out there. But if I come to you, KB, like, if you look back in your life, what was a very hurtful rejection sexually that you either gave or you got, and what can you say that looking back on it now you would do differently?
Well, I really can't think that far back.
Back when Moses was a pup.
He can't remember all the time.
Yeah, I can't think of that far back, but I can't really think of anything that actually hurt me because of sex. I'm like this. I'm not gonna force myself on you. That's the first thing. If you don't want to have sex, okay, maybe we can cuddle a little bit. If you don't want to cuddle, then it tells me something's wrong. I mean, what's wrong by laying there holding each other and something like that? If that gets to the point where I'm too tired for you to hold me or to be with me, we got a problem, serious problem. And then, and like I said, I don't dwell on the part that years ago, what happened when you didn't get your sex. Well, if it kept going, you got a problem, and it's time to move on. It's simple as that. I mean, you can't force anybody to love you. I don't care who you are, how much money you got. You can't buy love. It's got to be a mutual thing. I can understand coming home dead tired. You worked all week. I mean, you're really tired. Okay, if you don't want to have sex, let's lay here and hold each other. Maybe that'll work. Sex is great, but a lot of times it's not the intercourse or the orgasms. It's about the hugging each other, touching each other, talking to each other. That's more important than the sexual intercourse sometimes. That's my opinion.
Agreed. The pillow talk. Yeah, the pillow talk. Yeah. But I always thought cuddle was code word for sex.
Really?
Well,
that's massage, Michael. Massage.
Same thing as a
back massage is code.
Yeah, back
massage. That's the same thing for massage.
Hey, honey, I can give you a back massage.
Yeah. Let me.
Are you feeling stressed today?
Scotty's walking around the house with a bottle of massage oil just tucked in.
That's right, just tucked in my belt. Or
ready to go.
Ready to go. Bring it on.
I want to get the fairy cow. She said that I am the same height. I bigger the difference. How bigger the difference? A lot of people are the same height as KB. I'm just saying.
What about if someone's sexual desires are very different to yours, and you really like them, that you really dig this person, you really like? But what would
Roddy Carrington said it
talking
best.
To me?
Oh yeah. Oh,
sorry, what was that?
What if somebody wanted to whip you, in a BDSM style, and you're like, I'm not into that.
Not
No.
into pain.
Yeah.
Not in the pain. Not in the pain. No. And I'm not beating anybody. No. If you needed that bad, you find somebody else might want to beat you. But I'm not in
And
the pain.
if you go to tie me up, I will tear
No.
that bedroom apart.
You know, I heard something funny the other day with that. I see something about the niggers between a freak and a crook.
You got people out here that's in the toe suckers, I call them. You know, they're chewing the toenails for you. Give you a pedicure, whatever you want to call it. But no, KB doesn't do toes, don't do pedicures, and KB doesn't do S&M bondage or whatever you call it. That's no, because you're not going to tie me up. That's the bottom line. And you're not going to give me pain because KB does not do pain.
I'm
I
actually
will say
thinking
this.
what
You
Ken
brought
just
back a
picked-
little memory, Ken. Just before, about a year before I started dating Rainey, there was a woman that I dated that, frankly, you mentioned, she looks an awful lot like Rainey. Brunette, very well endowed, great shape, pretty, but she was a pedicurist. And that was just the joke that went around when I was at the Renaissance Festival. That's where I met her. She was a patron and I was an entertainer. And somebody said, "Oh, did you go out with the pedicurist?" And I said, "Why, yes, I did." So you just brought up a good memory there, Ken. You're talking about pedicures.
Yeah.
Now, she wasn't into my toes, but she
Let's get the
painted them
Dr.
once.
Feelgood. Dr. Feelgood. Let's get your interpretation of that, Doc.
You know, I always said, and I see fancy cowgirl here says men expect you to follow all their kinks, but when it comes to yours, hell no, they don't do that. There's only a very few things that I'd probably say no to. And there's one in particular that she's like, "Hey, you're done now. It's my turn." And be like, "Nope, I'm good. See ya." That big truck,
Yeah, I'm good.
big truck rolls out.
Yeah.
But no,
You
but
need to
it
bring
is a
that up
two-way street.
before the sexual activity starts.
Yeah.
I don't want to be surprised by that because
Yeah,
I'll tell you now.
That's one thing that nobody wants to be surprised by.
No, but no, it's
Yeah.
like-
I mean, you can
I'll
surprise
tell
me.
you guys a little story. In my 20s, and I'll make a story short and fast. In my 20s, I was dating this fine girl. I mean, she was not. Bring tears to your eyes. She looked so good. And you're making love, and all of a sudden she says, "Tap me." I'm looking at her, tap me. She says, "Yeah, tap me here." Well, okay. There. So I give up a little tap. She says, "No, a little bit harder." I'm going, "What the hell?" I mean, she was fine, dude. Let me tell you guys. I said, "Pow." She said, "No, harder." I said, "Knocked her out." She wakes up. What was that? She said, "That was great." I was done. I was done.
Okay, I'm out.
I have seen that happen before. And like I said, true story. With a girl, she's like, "Smack me like a man." Smack me like I'm like, I just come over to get some booty, not no charges. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to break your jaw. Because other like what Ken's saying, I am 6'3", 200 pounds. I got big hands. She's like, "Oh, hit me. I hit you. I want to break your jaw." I'm trained. I'm not going to just go around smacking women in the face because that's how they get off.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
See, that to me falls into the category of weird. And if you want to be weird like that, you go find somebody that likes being weird that way.
We all have
I got a question for Scott.
We all have different
Okay, here you go, KB. I got a question.
Well, just interject here. We all have different kinks, and I want to bring the lovely Keith in because you guys are dominating, and I need to bring Keith in as well. But
we're dominating.
It's like literally when you've got someone who has got a completely different kink, Keith, to you, completely different, but you really like that person. Would that put you off being with them if you really, really like them, but you don't want to,
It would depend on what it is. I mean, I would be able to sit down and have a conversation with them about it. Hey, that's not my thing. However, maybe we can find some kind of happy medium. I don't know. There might be some compromise.
I was going to ask KB and Scotty, like I said, I know the little better Scott. What if she dressed up and she had like the whole furry head on and like the furry tail with the plug and all that? He came in, said, "Hey, I want to take a crap in your litter box. I'm your kitty," and that's very possible in 2023 now.
Oh my God,
it's a thing. That is a thing.
It is a thing. It is a thing. So if you met this really hot girl, saying hypothetically, because you're married and whatever, but she comes in and she's gorgeous. You know, she's like,
And
let me
she's
get something more
gorgeous.
beautiful. Yeah.
She's not that damn gorgeous, let me tell you.
Yeah.
She might do it because she thinks the shit don't stink. But I got news for her. It does. It would stink. You know,
But,
no.
You know, something that says, I'm your kitty, you know, she comes in with the furry head, you know, and all that with the tail hanging out. What do you do? Do you say,
I would, that would be over. It'd be over for me. It would be something I'd say, you know, didn't warn me about this ahead of time. I'm really not into this. I've had situations in the past where I said, why don't you just meet me downstairs? I'm going to go get a drink. I'm done. And whatever the situation might be, because there are certain things. I like you. You're a cool person. This is not something I like. We can talk about it, but if this is what you like, I'm probably not right for you. And I've used that line before. I'm probably not right for you.
It's like you guys didn't use the definition of kinky and perverted. Kinky is when you just use brother. Perverted is when you use the whole damn chicken. What are you? I mean, you got to think of it like that. Are you kinky?
Difference between a fetish and a
feather
feather
is the whole damn chicken.
Girl, you know.
So you would let her down kind of
slow, kind of
try to be easy with it and not be like,
I would be nice.
You a freak and I'm gone.
I would be nice. I wouldn't call her a freak and tell her to get the fuck out of my house. It wouldn't be that. It would be, you know, and I've had that happen. Different situations where, for instance, real simple one, not a big kinky thing, but a woman invited me over, made me dinner, and then wanted to take me to bed. And she had two little boys at home that were ages like 7 and 9. And they're on the other side of the bedroom wall in their bedroom. And she said they were in bed, but they're giggling and they're interrupting. And I'm like, I just said to her, I said, you know, I said, I don't think this is going to work tonight. And it wasn't all bets are off. It was like, I can't do this with kids around.
Yeah.
I had a problem when I had women in my house and stop by. They just stopped by. And my 4-year-old son was home because he wasn't in school yet. And you get into that, and my son goes down for a nap, you know, and all of a sudden my son's knocking on the door, and I'm like, I'm done. I can't, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, see, that's one of the things that you have to, one of the hurdles you have to overcome as a couple with kids.
Being a parent.
You know, you have to get over that or you'll never have it. You're always thinking about it.
We are like that all the time.
Barney, you know what I'm saying? My kids would watch Barney, and there for a long time, every time I heard that song, I got her. It's like, you love me. Yeah, I knew just how long I had. Barney, 30 minutes. When Barney came on, hey, Mr. Jiggerbox, hey, let's roll. We got 30 minutes.
Yeah. But see, but I think as the parents, it's different if they're not your kids. You know, if you go to someone's house and they have kids, it's like, I don't know, it's just weirder.
I just wanted
when it's your kids, you're like, oh well, I know what they do.
What if it's you and your spouse, and it's both of your kids?
Yeah,
and it's like, you know, that's what we face that an awful lot around here. There is barely a moment. If you watched my show this morning, Rainey came in. And I laughed because she came down and to be on the show with me. And she goes, you got 8 minutes. And I said, oh, that brings back a memory. The story I told earlier. And, but then in just a few minutes, the 8-year-old who was the product of that 8-minute joke came down. And wherever mom is, she has to be. And so it's generally got to wait until the 8-year-old is sleeping. The 14-year-old, he's kind of like, you guys do your own thing. I don't want to be interrupted. I won't interrupt you.
Yeah.
The 11 going on 12-year-old.
Honestly, if you've ever been playing and rolled over and looked right square in the eyes of your child, it will.
There was, you know, my son Sam.
It will stop you from doing whatever you were doing.
You know, my son Sam. He is now 22. When Rainey and I were first together, there was one day we're enjoying each other's nakedness and all that goes with that.
Comfort.
And my son walks into the bedroom. We didn't even see him walk in the bedroom. We feel the bed move. And I look over and Rainey looks over and he's laying there like this. And he goes, "Hi, what you doing?"
What you doing?
He was 4 at the time.
But what's
Nothing
worse than that
now.
is when you're in the middle of something and you feel her holding your shoulders, and next thing you know, you feel something touch your butt, and you're thinking, "How's she doing that?" And you look back, and you got your toddler looking at you like,
Your
Or
toddler.
the dog.
yes,
Or the
it's
dog,
like,
yes.
I just
Yeah.
Or
told
the dog.
At that time,
with the dog.
Yeah,
I just said to
"Hey,
Sam, I said, Sam,
have
you got
anything
to go out of the room.
And
The
but
thing
you know
is,
what?
I just wanted to bring up is that there is a lot of emotional hurt that we get if we're repeatedly rejected by our partner. And the thing is, to have a sexy, healthy, sex life, one of the good things is to be spontaneous.
Cats.
And sometimes you can't be spontaneous. But the other thing is when you get a distance between you because you're always too tired, you're always too busy, or you've always got this on there, what happens is intimacy, sex, and desire fizzles out. And so what you're left with is this kind of friendship bond where you're with someone in this relationship and it's more friends than it is anything else. And typically, the pursuer will try and, whoever that is, male or female, will try to initiate sex and say, "Come on, let's do it," or "Do you fancy it?" or "I've got my, sexy underwear on," or anything like that.
Do you
And
fancy it?
Exactly. Are you up for it?
Not a
Yeah,
line
And
I've
they
ever
may
used.
use,
the
they
special
may
things.
tell you, "I want you. How about tonight? How about cuddle night?" As I well know, they're buying new lingerie, sex toys, making sexual gestures. And what happens is the other person says, "I'm not in the mood." They physically push you away. They get angry with you. They don't want to cuddle on the couch. And in the end, you stop asking or you become resentful. And obviously we're looking at this as in if you're in a relationship couple, but imagine if you're dating someone and you've not gone to that department yet, and yet they're pushing you to have sex, and you're thinking, well, if I don't have sex with them, it's been this period of time now, if I don't have sex with them, they're going to go. There is a lot of pressure, and men, Val, come in here and back me up with this one, men and women have egos of their own. And the ego can take over, like, how dare she? I'm this great looking guy or a woman. How dare he reject me? I'm sexy as fuck, right?
So,
Right.
And
I would do me. I would do me. Yeah.
well, good luck with that one, right?
Yeah.
Let us know
Yeah,
how
pretty
it
much.
works.
And he
Michael,
does every day.
Michael's full of shit.
Yeah.
I imagine he would like let us know on that. But it's like, for instance, using, Scotty was saying with the kids and everything like that, it's hurtful. It does go deep.
Yeah.
Keith was talking about as well, at the end of the day, sometimes, if you're always got a man who's chasing you for sex, or a partner or whatever, it can feel like you're being consumed. It can feel like you're being smothered.
Yeah.
It can feel like you are exhausted.
It feels like that's all they want you for.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
before we get to-
So you really have to have different parts, not
yeah.
just that.
Yeah, you just can't love
Balance.
one part of the person. You have to take them as a whole. But I thought of something funny a while ago, and I need to say it before I forget it, because my ADHD's like. Psst. But when Scotty's talking about somebody else's kids, you know what I always figured out? If it's not your kids, you don't have to pay for the therapy later. So it's like, hey,
there's
my mom
that.
or your daddy's like, yeah, and but that's kind of what. Trying to keep
Michael hasn't got his doctorate yet. He hasn't got his doctorate. He's on his way to doing it.
I will tell you this, Wendy,
Oh,
Michael, everybody. If I got involved with somebody that I wanted to have sex with, and I did, that was generally somebody that it wasn't, in my mind, the way my mind works, it wasn't like, this is going to be a test run. I'm gonna shag this chick and I'm gonna go on my way. I was never that kind of person.
No.
If I was going to that level with somebody, it was usually because I liked them enough to think, maybe this has got a future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there have been times where you've gone to the sexual area and you go, this is not going to work.
Yep.
And it might be for other reasons. But I'm the kind of person where I could never, where some of my male friends could do this,
Yeah.
I could never just have sex with somebody for the sake of having sex with a woman. And then I move on. I was never that way, because to me, I have to have some kind of feelings for somebody to want to have sex with them.
Yeah, emotional connection.
So
Yeah,
when you got rejected, that was even worse because you'd already developed some feelings for that person. And maybe some people out there, maybe some of you listening think, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit, Scotty. No, it's not. I could maybe think of one time on two fingers that I maybe had sex with somebody because it was like, yeah, I just want to have sex with this person, and I hope I never see them again. It just didn't happen. I entered into sexual relationships because I like my ex-wife, we've been divorced for 22 years. We were together for 12 years. But the night we met at you all know the restaurant, TGI Fridays. Met at a Fridays. And we met late in the afternoon. I had stopped in to get a beer, and she had done the same. And we're at the bar, and we ended up talking. We talked till like 1 a.m. Then she wanted to go to the hotel that was right next door to this Fridays. And my response, and she was hot enough to want to do that. And my response was, and it's one that you walk away from this kicking yourself in the ass and patting yourself on the back at the same time. But I said, you know what? No. I said, I would rather not do that tonight. I said, I'd rather get to know you. And I said, here's my number. Call me if you want to get together again. And we exchanged numbers. Well, she called the next day and we got together again. We went and saw a movie at my brother's house and stuff like that. So, and that relationship developed because sometimes you jump into that sexual side of a relationship too quick.
Yes.
And it's it destroys it because that's all you're doing it for.
I mean, maybe Michael, you can give us an example of that, because it sounds like you did that. You actually went out of one into another, and I'm asking you.
The old saying is the best way to get over one is get under another.
That is true, but I'm asking you to actually take some of that ego out and just actually be very honest and look back and go, you know, if things were the same today as the person you are today, would you have still responded in the way you did?
No. Like I said, you know, with the age you grow up, and like I said, tonight I'm being really funny. And if anybody don't know, Wendy will call me. She can tell when the ego takes over. Me and her has had these very, very in-depth conversations. There's not much about me that she don't know, and it's always very honest with her. And but no, and you know, and I get asked the hard questions. Watch her, she's over there patting her. Valerie loves it. And
sorry, I'm trying to quiet my cricket, but
I'll myself. I'll mute it. There you go.
I think it's Kenny's cricket.
Yeah, Kenny's cricket.
Oh.
And but you know,
thought it was me again.
You know, but no, there's a lot of things that I would do differently. And tonight, I'm just tired. So you know, out comes the humor. But no, you know, when you grow, and the more you grow as a person, the more you look back and you reflect.
Exactly. So if you're in a new situation and the woman rejects you and she doesn't want sex, what are you going to do? Are you going to like just dump her and move on to someone else, or are you? And I ask this because men do, and some women do as well, but most men are like, if I'm not getting it from her, there's someone else who would give it to me. And I use this as an example because it's like the dating site, you know, being on the internet, internet dating. If someone doesn't want to talk to you, someone else will, and someone else will make you feel better.
Sites, and they come out Sexject or whatever, and people have, and you know, Valerie's daughter said, sex with no feelings is normalized nowadays. You know, you see the guys or the women owners, and you know they're all breasted out, not hookups. You know, or they're bent over in a pair of sexy underwear. You must get to know me first, not here for hookups. I'm thinking, You're not here for hookups, but the tops and bottoms are out, and and they have made it so normal for, like she said, and I'm like, ego. What she said, ego is the root of suffering. Yeah. Like
Yeah, I mean, there's a
difference
though between ego, letting your ego be arrogant or
funny,
just normal. You know what I mean?
I think there's also, Val's right. Ego and rejection are very, very different, because ego is all about, oh my God, how could this happen to me? My pride, everything like that. Let me beat my chest, or let me just, walk out. And Keith, men, and I'm putting this out there as devil's advocate. Do you feel that when it comes to sex, men are worse at taking rejection than women are?
I don't think so, actually.
No.
I know how I felt when I got rejected, in my first marriage. I'd get it once every 3 or 4 months, whether I needed it or not, for 5 minutes.
For good measure.
The cuddling wasn't a thing. It was just a roommate situation, essentially. That started to happen in my second marriage.
Roommate with occasional sex.
In my last relationship, the tide was changed. I was the one doing the rejecting because I had no drive, due to the fire and the trauma. And
trauma is understandable.
We did not accept that well whatsoever. I explained it to her. I offered to go to the doctor, whatever, to work on it. I tried. I made attempts. But since I wasn't doing her, who was I doing? I got accused of cheating. I was not cheating. Back in the day, if I got rejected enough, and they would actually start accusing me of cheating when they were rejecting me, and then I stopped making advances. So therefore I must be making advances elsewhere. Well, I got to the point where if I'm getting accused of it,
might as well do it.
Michael, yes. Why not? And then I found out real quick, I always got told I sucked in bed by my first wife. Guess what? I figured out that I didn't.
Yeah. Let me take a poll on that. You know what I'm saying? Say you might as well get a brawl.
I think it's actually going to depend on the person, male, female, doesn't matter, on the person, what they're going through as to how they're going to take that rejection. And it may also have to do in their previous relationship experiences. They may have had some trauma, and it affects them sexually.
And of course, the other thing is as well, when you've been rejected by someone and all of a sudden they go, come hither, how are you then feeling? Because you've been rejected by this person time and time again, and all of a sudden they're giving you the green light, going, well, okay, then let's go for it. What do you feel then?
Well, I think you end up feeling like, well, why am I okay now when I wasn't when I wanted it?
You think there's ulterior motives behind.
What was wrong with me when I wanted it? What's the difference between then and now?
I'm the product of a new red dress. My mom wanted a new red dress, and Dad wanted sex. Dad got the sex, Mom got the dress, and here I am.
Smart lady.
But I see rejection. I have seen it, all out through my childhood with my parents and other people, and like I said, and you are a product of what you grow up in. And sometimes, like I said, I have learned to deal with a lot of stuff. Some people think it's the ego, but a lot of it is humor. And you can mask a lot of hurt with humor. You really can.
Sure you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, why do you think I'm so funny?
As I said, and like I said, Wendy gets to see the real Michael anytime she calls. And it's very different than the persona that I put on sitting here with my jacket or whatever. And people's talking about, the longer the relationship goes, people let her stuff go. I think I've actually got a little better, because when me and her first started talking, she's like, do you ever wear a shirt? I was like, no, I'm home. She and finally, she's like, you look like you just fell out of bed, no top on. I was like, well, I'm in the dog.
But that comes into that thing, what I'm saying, if a man doesn't make an effort, and I'm not talking for a special occasion, and I'm talking about in general, if he doesn't make an effort every day, if he doesn't shower, look nice, as in he doesn't have to be in a 3-piece suit, but if he doesn't look nice, if he doesn't smell nice, and not only that, it's his hygiene. It's not just how he looks in himself. I mean, it's in his home, it's in his bedding, it's
Wendy, just say,
women
you gotta wash your ass.
Yeah, wash your ass.
But it's like
Yeah.
men are the same with women. My brother, I
Mhm.
don't often talk about my brother, but my brother told me a story how he dated this girl, and she would come up and she'd look amazing, and she'd have all the gear and everything, and he'd go, but she'd take her clothes off, and it was stale, and I was just like, I can't, and I would just have to, and I felt so bad because I really liked her, but I was just like, no. And I think that's what people don't realize, is that sexual intimacy is in the brain. All right, men are visual, and as Scotty likes to say, squirrel. And you know, and they're fine. And women are more sort of like women are in the brain, men are visual, and it's also the smell and everything. But I think also, let's talk about a point that Anita brought up, and I haven't forgotten it. What happens when someone's body is not the same as it once was? The boobs are not as pert and they're low. There's a belly to deal with. Their back is perhaps like this, or they've got man boobs. What happens when a partner doesn't take care of themselves in a body, Ken? And what do you do because you don't find them sexually, you love them or like them, but you don't find them sexually. What do you do? What do you say to them because of that?
I think you just have to be straightforward.
Yeah.
If I was stinky,
Yeah.
my wife would have no problem coming to me and going, dude, you need a shower.
Oh.
And I go, and that would hit my insecurities. And I go, seriously? Oh, okay. I'll go take a shower right now. I'm blind to my own handicaps.
Stank is what it's called, Scotty. Stank.
Stank.
Yeah, blind to your own aroma.
Stank.
I'm trying to bring you on, Ken. I'm trying to bring you on.
That's okay.
Okay, everybody hush. Look, Kim ain't.
I think Cricket's enjoying the show because his is doing this number. I think they're talking back and forth. But yeah, you got to be. Come on, guys, girls, guys, women. You got to be clean. I mean, who wants to get in a bed or hug somebody in the body odor so bad you don't want to hug them? Not me. I know a friend of mine who comes down to the car shows and they want to walk up to you and give you a hug, and I'm talking a female. And the hair so greasy, you look like you've been fried bacon in it. I mean, back up a little bit. I mean, you try to be. Tell them like you need to take a shower or wash your hair or something like that. I mean, me, I'm the type of guy. I'm a clean guy. I mean, old as I am, I take my showers sometimes twice a day. I brush my teeth. I try to take care of myself as an old guy.
That's very important. Oral care is very important. You don't want to go up to a guy or a woman and they smell of the mouth smells awful, or they smell of something they've eaten, or they smell of cigarettes, because sometimes that isn't sexy. You don't want to do it. And you brought up a very interesting point, because it's like, imagine you meet this amazing woman, you're really into her, she's great, and you go home to her house, Scotty, and it's a shit heap, right? There's stuff everywhere, there's clothes on the floor. What would you do? Would you ignore it, or would you just go?
Some of it's ignorable. Houses get messy. My house is a disaster right now because we've got the living room all ripped up. So, that kind of thing, houses get messy. I understand it. Mm-hmm. I've had times where I've walked into a woman's house and it looks nice, but it smells like a cat litter box.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's gross. It immediately turns me off. But I'm the kind of person.
Why y'all want to talk about my house like this? Why y'all want to do me?
Valerie.
Why y'all want to do me that way? That's hurtful.
I'm the kind of person though that will. I've told my own family. I said the day I smell cat litter in the house is the day the cats don't live here anymore.
Well, that's one thing you don't smell in my house is cat litter. But I'm just saying, y'all gonna be hurtful now. Be careful.
Sorry.
I met her one time, and this girl was immaculate. Fingernails done, makeup, hair, dress, immaculate. She invited me and my girlfriend at the time to come by and have dinner. Well, I'm thinking she's immaculate. I mean, she's dressed, everything. Went to her house to have dinner. I'll never forget it as long as I live. Walk in the house, grabbed the seat, and I looked over towards where his countertop is, where she put food out. She said, "This is gonna be a buffet style type of food." I'm thinking, oh, you know. When I got up to walk over by the food, I saw the cockroach run across the salad.
Oh no.
True story. True story. When I saw that cockroach run across the salad, and she said, "Well, help yourself." So you know me, I will try to be polite. I put some in the plate.
I have to hold it. It's still not charging.
Couch. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to eat this. Well, my day that I had, and the girl went to do something, I took it and put it on her plate. And she come back and said, "Oh, you ate that, Evan?" "Yes, I did." She said, "Oh, you go get your second helping." I said, "No, I'm fine.
Good.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good." But
He ain't cockroach fight for no pork. No. But you know, there was something asked me one time, and she knows who asked me. She said, "What happens if I lose my figure?" I told her, I said, "Honey, I love you. I will help you go find it."
It's a very nice compliment.
It is, you know, but no, she asked me, she said, what happens when I lose my figure? And I said, "Well, I will help you go find it. We will look for it together. If that sumbitch comes up missing, we will put out a search warrant for it."
An interesting thought that just came to me, which I wanted to ask. We'll go around the room to ask which one. Keith, if you had a partner that didn't want sex with you, but she was taking care of business herself, but she still didn't want to get intimate, how would you feel about that, Keith?
That would hit me. It would, you know, again, probably get me to thinking, you know, okay, what's wrong with me? What am I doing? Do I not satisfy her? You know, why does she prefer the bobs to me? But I would set her down and say, "Hey, this is a thing. Can we talk about this?"
Yeah, tell them, say, "Need to try a little Keith with Bob," right?
That or hide her batteries.
Scotty, what about you? How would that make you feel?
Oh no, anymore you get the charger. They're USB.
If my wife or the hypothetical love interest was more interested in pleasing herself than having it with me, I would ask a lot of questions. To start with, I'd say I'd try to find out what the deal was, and I wouldn't put it that way. I'd probably say, "Hey, you obviously enjoy sexual release, but you don't enjoy it with me."
Yeah. So in some ways, would that be worse than her saying no? Would that be worse than her saying no and rejecting you? Would that be worse to find out that she's doing that?
No, because I think everybody does that to a certain degree. When you're saying, if I find out she does that, quote unquote, meaning that is her normal modus operandi, is to relieve oneself sexually as opposed to with their partner, I would have a problem with that. And I'd state,
it does hurt when somebody picks porn over you. It does hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I was going to say, a lot of people do turn, you know, I've dated people, I'm sure Val has, where you're like, you know, you sometimes feel like it's either the porn or it's something else, and you're like, what's wrong with me? Ken, if I come to you, what would you feel about it if you found that they didn't want you physically and they kept rejecting you, but you love this person? Obviously, you're in a relationship with them. If you weren't, obviously, it probably would be a problem.
You can love somebody, but you know, you can love somebody with all your heart and soul. But if they continue to not want to have sex with you, you got a serious problem in your marriage. Okay, one or two things you could do: you could take a battery from Bob and hope for the best, and you know, but. If it continues to happen and she likes Bob better than she does you, enjoy Bob the rest of your life. You know, that's what I would say. But you try to get to the problem, find what the problem is. You know, if you continue to do it and don't want to have sex with me, we don't need to be together. I mean, you and Bob pack your little bags and enjoy your life. I mean, it's simple as that. I'm not going to beg you for sex, period. Bottom line, if you love me, you love me. You know, and that's the thing. It's not all about the sex love. And then I keep telling people it's not about sex.
No.
It's what you could be the most beautiful woman in the world to me. You're gorgeous, not gorgeous. and you're
But it's
ugly.
that feeling, isn't it, that someone doesn't want you, and yet they're telling you they don't want you for whatever reason. And yet, you know, I mean, I say this because I was in a situation, and it came to mind just now. I was dating someone, very much in love with them, and it was very, very physical. And sadly, there was a bereavement in the family, and this person completely changed. And I would want to be there. I'd want to be with them. I want to support them. I want to be there. And it was rejected. And obviously they had reasons to do it. And then I was actually at the location one day, and I discovered something in the bin, right? And I'm like, what is this? And they're like, oh, it's nothing. It's just an emotional release. But hang on a minute, what am I? Yeah, but you're a different kind of emotional release. You're, you know, that's actually, I have to put my heart and soul into that. You know, that's something I can't give you right now because I'm still screwed up over this. But at the same, but then how can you get Mr. Wrigley to work? So it did affect me, because I'm like, is he telling me the truth? Was there someone else? Did he actually be with someone else? Or you know, they've just lost someone very dear to them. It affected me. And I think that there is no straightforward answer. Everything is individual. But women are like, we are the best detectives in the world. We will search that shit out, and we will go through every nook and cranny until we find out exactly why you turned us down and why you didn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't it? It's like guys, you know, girls give out signals when they're having an affair. If you got a girl or wife and they never wear makeup, and all of a sudden they start to dress up, they start to put makeup on, and next thing you know, they're going out somewhere. That's a sign right there, guys. I mean, if she's all of a sudden she starts dressing up when she's going to work a little better than what she normally would, used to go to work and wear her work attire, no makeup. When she starts to go to work, she's putting makeup on, she's putting the perfume on, you know, and that's a sign. I mean, you gotta look at the signs, what they're putting out there. I mean, don't be stupid, guys. If your wife or girlfriend goes to work every day, no makeup, and all of a sudden, you notice that she started wearing the makeup, she started smelling good, she's dressing a little bit better. That's a sign. Have sex. If she's turned over at nighttime and turns away from you, that's a sign right there. I mean, you can't get it.
But then you've got the ones that actually do not look like they're like that all the time. And to have a successful affair or to successfully cheat, I've always said that you have to not change, look exactly the same, do exactly the same things. Obviously not have apps on your phone where you can see where you're going and what you're doing, because that obviously isn't going to work. For me, I remember I before I come to Val to ask with her, and Michael, I was dating someone and we had a huge row. And often this is when it happens. You have a huge row, you say terrible things to each other, things that you can't take back, things that go really, really deep. And they're like, well, I don't want you. I don't want to shag you anymore. I don't want to, like, you know, I don't do any of this anymore. You can go to anyone. And you think, okay, then I will. And so you take yourself away from that situation and you do that. And then they go, but I didn't mean it. And it was like, and then you think to yourself, you know, you rejected me, not just sexually, but emotionally, you rejected me. And if I went looking for it elsewhere, which I had every right to after that situation, then the damage is done. And then their ego got the better of them. And it's like, oh my God, did she do this? Did she do this? And I think, Val, what I'm trying to say is that when we reject people, we have to be really careful about how we do it, unless because there's violence or abuse there or something like that. We have to be careful with our words. And reassurance is very, very important. Look, you know, I love you to pieces, but I'm just not feeling up for it right now, whatever. Because I think if you're all you ever want is sex, or you just piss me off, you know, or whatever, then it's going to go further. You have to be careful when you reject someone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to, you know, I mean, if you truly do not want to be in that relationship, if you are just truly over, you know, sex, everything with that person, you need to just cut your ties and move on.
Just move on.
But
roll out.
if if you love them to pieces and you truly want it to work, but not right now, you got to be you got to make them understand why. It's not that I'm not attracted to you. It's not that I wouldn't love to. I'm just exhausted or sick or whatever the case may be. It's not.
Okay.
There's
But we
a
do,
way
as
there's a way
women-
to not to that sounds weird. There's a way to reject without hurt
But-
feelings.
But don't that go back to, oh, it's not you, it's me? And
No.
most guys hear it a lot. Say, oh, I would love to. It's not you. You're all this. It's me.
Well, no, it's not exactly, because that's more of a big old lie, because it's truly all you and none me. But in this case, it's, you have to make them understand why,
Run towel, Ken.
why you're rejecting them
We got there,
at
Kenny.
that time, not all the time.
I think it's stiff enough to drive nails with, Scotty, just so you're saying.
There you
What
go.
is this blue thing you're showing us, Ken?
Is that your sock?
That's for the
That's for Kenny on cold days.
She said, "Take a rag and roll up your ass."
Oh, nice.
What Emily said.
I think it's probably true to say that
Clean, yeah.
women.
I will
tend
tell
to-
you, I saw that post too, and I wasn't going to respond to it, but I'm a clean person.
Hey, I just
Yeah,
had a
If I have to soil my back end, you know what? I clean it too.
Yeah.
I just,
But there's a lot of men who think they all that, and they got to stink ass, and
take
it's
a
just not
breeze through
happening.
my ass crack and I'm done. No, it's like
That's my twin
I
brother,
want to
Val.
be clean.
Yeah.
I want my
wait.
clothes to stay clean. I
I
want
have
my
to-
odor to stay clean.
You know,
And
I
there's
would be
things
so
you do to
embarrassed.
do that.
But Scotty, there's a lot of men out there who just they're oblivious,
They are. They're
and then
oblivious
they
to that.
say, "Well, I don't know why I can't get a woman
And you want to bitch
because your
slap 'em
ass stink." That's why.
and say the reason you don't have a woman is that's the cleanliness karma angel coming to slap you in the face.
Tell
Or
tell-
fairy, I meant to say, not
Hey,
angel.
I
what
just-
is it?
But
I just
there's
realized
something
that
that
I'm
I
the-
wanted to ask.
Our
Here.
spring works, right?
I'm
You
the
know-
only Brit here tonight. I've just realised that
Oh,
I
that's
am
what I said. The
surrounded
Irish
by
spring.
my
You're
wonderful-
holding your own.
my
You Brits
friends over
got
the
it.
pond, because
Yeah.
I have been like, I'm just here on my own tonight with
Doing good.
from the
I
UK.
gotta-
But it's before
Sure,
I
he
come
didn't
to
come on.
Scotty's question, because he's got a question,
I
and
do
we'll
have a
come back to
question.
it. One thing I want
Um,
to say is, if you reject someone, you've got to be careful what you do, because it can lead to, and I'm going to read what it says. She says here: erectile dysfunction, sexual issues, depression, anxiety, all kinds of argumenting and things like that. It can really screw someone up, because
Yeah.
using Scotty as an example. So he's with, not Rainey, I don't want to go there, but if Scotty's with a lady and she doesn't want to be with him, and she's just like, she does it all negatively, he's going to start going, what's wrong with me? Like, what
Yeah.
have I done? What have I done? I didn't deserve this.
But
And,
if a guy is smart enough, he might react. What's the matter with me? What's
Mhm.
going on here? We're together. We've been together for a long time. What's the matter with me? But if the guy's thinking and he's smart, he's going to realize, well, you know what? It's probably not me. If somebody has every excuse in the book, it's probably not something I'm doing wrong. It's this person has decided that no matter what the situation is, they don't want to have that intimacy.
Yeah.
And you say, if there's a reason that person is doing that, then there is if that person is doing that, there's going to be a reason behind it. And it's not usually that I'm not clean, or that I'm not attentive, or that I'm not this or not that, or whatever it might be. It could be, there's some women that do that to men because they're like, well, you don't make enough money. That's like men saying to women after 15 years of marriage, well, you got fat, so I had to go find somebody that wasn't fat anymore.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's that kind of stupidity that comes out of the mouth of people.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it can come from either side too.
it
you
can
know,
come from either side.
And
Well,
either
like-
side can either be, oh, you're not worthy of my body because you don't make X amount of dollars.
Right.
well,
And
like Cowgirl said, past trauma really affects future relationships.
it does.
Yeah.
A lot of times you pay for all the ghosts and demons
It's true. We
that
do.
everybody else.
You
has.
do, but and it's hard on both sides, because if you start seeing someone who has that past trauma, it's kind of like it falls on you to help them get over it.
You got to
Right.
fix what somebody else
But if
did.
it's you that has had that past trauma, you really don't know whether to trust somebody to help you get over it, or are you just going to
Now,
get hurt more?
Let me
I
qualify what I just said too. I'm not saying my shit don't stink. That's not what I'm saying by saying that, to use vernacular terms.
Mhm.
I got my own problems, my own idiosyncrasies, my own junk.
Yeah.
But I've also dealt with a lot of my own idiosyncrasies and my own junk. And
Yeah.
I've overcome certain things in life.
It happens with human
There are
age.
things I know. I do not mistreat. I do not mistreat my wife. I don't make her feel this way or that way or the other way. I can't make my wife or the person I'm with feel something that they do not already feel themselves. So there's many times you can chalk this up to there is obviously some sort of baggage. There's something going on within that other person, man or woman, that they have a problem with this intimacy at this point. Is it because you've thoroughly disappointed them and you're an idiot and you no longer deserve their affection? I know guys that are in that situation. It's like, my wife loved me for X number of years, and now I'm not good enough. Nothing I do is good enough because I don't make enough money, or I don't, or this or that. Or I've known guys that have, and frankly, I don't know if any of you guys have felt this. You don't have to say so, but there are guys that I'll even say of myself. It's not like it was when I was 19. It's now 62 years old. And so it's not
He's
quite
tired.
as- what's that?
He's
He's
tired.
tired.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, I used to say jokingly, you got to make an appointment with me a week ahead of time to have sex so I can get worked up.
But
And it's not that bad.
You have to work on your own,
Right.
baggage.
Right.
But the other person also has to understand that they need to give you the room to work on it,
Right.
and not
Right.
take everything as towards them.
Yep.
I mean, I would say
wrong.
that when you get rejected, and I'm sure you agree, Keith, what I'm saying, there's a feeling of abandonment. I've been abandoned by somebody that I truly care for or like.
Yeah.
And sometimes we seek to fulfill that abandonment by attaching ourselves to another person.
Yes.
I'm going to date another person. I'm going to get under another person, like Michael said. But actually, all that does, really, technically, unless you are that cold-hearted or that cold-minded or that easy to detach yourself from the situation, which some people are, by jumping into another relationship to dull the pain of the rejection you're getting from the person you want to, you're going into an unhealthy cycle of reinforcing the wound of the first one, because okay, I'll go on to date someone else then. But you haven't dealt with
out.
Me back in the day, I would end a relationship, jump right into another one. I wouldn't take time to heal anything.
You need to get to the root of the problem. Why? In Michael's situation, and and in Scotty's, they're very, very different. But in Michael's situation, if you're with someone who's abusive or toxic or alcoholic or on drugs or anything
That's
like
different.
that, then you need to remove yourself from the situation. And unless there is And even if there are financial situations involved, you can sort that out. You can get through it. You can remove yourself from it without then attaching yourself to someone else and bringing them into that situation. With Scotty, his situation is its own. He's married. He's got children. There are young children. His wife's health is up and down. It's a very different situation. And I think everyone should look at the priority of what is my priority in life. Is it my sex drive, or is it my relationship? Is it me getting my rocks off, or is it me actually making a difference in my life? Because I think you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of someone else.
Yes.
And there are, I think if you go for, and I speak from experience here, I ended a relationship and I went to someone else. It was probably the biggest mistake I did, but at the same time I was a very different person. I would never ever do it now, because I'm just like, I got myself.
We
I can be on
change.
myself.
As we grow up, we change.
Absolutely.
Like I say, I'm 62 years old right now. If my wife, for any reason, wanted to end our relationship,
yeah,
I wouldn't be, well, cool, I can go out and find another woman and have sex. That would be probably the farthest thing from my mind, because my relationship with my wife isn't based on whether or not I get all the kind of sex I want to have. My relationship with my wife is based on many other things. Sex is just frosting on the cake. And that's, I'm 62. When I was 32, 30 years ago, been a very different thing if that happened. When I was divorced 22 years ago. I was 40 when my wife and I were divorced. I had women coming out of the woodwork. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way. I'm just saying, like at the Renaissance Festival, I became an eligible bachelor.
So literally women coming out of the woodwork.
Literally women coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. And like you said, not with the ego. Wendy asked me a question.
It's not egotistical, yeah.
She asked me a question one time. Because, I was in and out of relationships, and she asked me, well, have you learned anything? I said, yeah. I've learned to live by myself, and I got a fucking dog, And
it takes a lot to break the cycle when you're in the middle of a cycle like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it takes a lot of strength to not jump in to the same thing over and again.
I got to tell you, at 62, what have I got? Let's see. Ken, how old are you? You're about 8 years older than I am. I think got 8 good years left.
I'm 71, still out of
So I look at that and I go, I wouldn't, if my wife and I ended up divorced for any reason, I don't think I would want to do a relationship again. Not that I couldn't have a relationship with somebody. It sounds like double talk. I don't think I'd want to get into the same kind of thing again. Of course, I'm not going to have a relationship with a woman that wants to have kids at this age.
Well, I think at that stage in life, you kind of, instead of relationship, you kind of lean more towards companionship.
Right.
And not necessarily the same kind of relationship.
There is nothing wrong. Don't let me cast any aspersion. There's nothing wrong with, at my age, getting into a relationship with somebody and wanting to have sex.
No.
Nothing wrong with that. Good for you.
I mean, I'm not saying you're like, 100 and sitting in a rocking chair, but I'm saying, I think in our minds, sex is not what drives us to get another relationship.
Right.
Oh, you talking about pre-love and all that stuff? There was a survey done. There was more sexually transmitted diseases in these old folks communities in Florida.
I did not remember saying free love anywhere.
Yeah, it is.
I did not say that. You come up with that out of the air.
That just came out of the neither, and he just went through it.
Yeah,
he just grabbed that one.
The thing is, what I want to say is that some men also reject women because, and women reject men as well, because they also know that you deserve better than what you can give them. Sometimes a woman will meet a guy and she'll date him, and her friends are going, "You can do so much better than that. You can do so much better," and he knows he's not giving her what he should be. He or she knows, or whatever. They know they're not giving you what they should be. They know that you are a high value woman and that you are asking them to step up their game and step up their play, or a high value guy, whatever way you want to look at it. The thing is, if you're with someone and you're not on equal measures, there's always going to be this dynamic going on, whether it's sexually, whether it's intimacy. You have got to sing or at least communicate to get to that point where you sing from the same page, and to make it work. But I think that there are a lot of times we date people and you go, why did they dump me? Why did they dump me? Because obviously they realized they couldn't give you what you needed, or maybe you were too high value. I would consider myself quite a high value woman. I have very high standards. If you don't come up to that, you're out, right? And it's taken me 53 years to get to that point where it's like,
Right.
I can ask for sex if I want it. I can be the initiator if I want it. No, you're not making an effort. I'm not interested. And I think that men still find they are the hunters. They still are the ones who, I would say, they get used to rejection, probably, where women take it probably a lot more deeper if we get rejected. We're kind of like, what? Because that sometimes is the nature of our species. But I also think it's really important to remember it's not sometimes about you, it's about that person. So when you're rejected by someone, it's so easy to take things personally. It's me. What did I do? And you bend over backwards, pardon the pun, to make them happy.
I would think that would lessen the chance of being rejected.
No,
But
but speaking on the other thing, they're talking about like smelling good and all that. The one thing that would terrify me to death is to go get my passport, go get my visa, get on an airplane and fly for 14 hours through several different cities, and get off the airplane and her come up to me and say, "Holy Jesus, you smell like the back of a baboon's ass." You know, then
she knows what that smells like.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that you've been on a plane for 14 hours and you've been through all these cities, I think she would kind of give you a little leeway on that one.
But you know, but I even told her, I said, you know, I would like to have a chance. Even she told me when she flies over, I would like to have a few minutes to myself to get myself together before you
like take a shower first.
Maybe go wash your hands.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Run a brush across your teeth or something.
You know, you find that Val, that some women or guys get attracted because they want them physically, they just don't want them mentally. So they're okay to shag. You know, they're okay to have a shag with. And Ken will probably, like, you know, Ken and Keith. Let me come to the 2Ks before we end the show. But it's like, do you find sometimes, gentlemen, that you've dated lovely women, and physically they ticked all the boxes, but mentally you were like, nope, I can't. I need to leave. Have you been there?
That has happened. I met a woman that I thought I had no chance with. You know, you were discussing that here a little bit ago. Turns out I did have a chance. Very beautiful woman, very beautiful. We started talking, video chatting, whatnot, and I started noticing certain things, certain cycles that I'd been through before. And so I stepped back and I looked, and no, this person is nowhere near where I would need them to be for me to feel comfortable in a relationship with them. And I explained that, hey, I'm sorry, I've got these issues, and this is why I need to take a step back. And even said, those are valid issues. You know, thank you for that. Can we still be friends? Sure. Haven't heard from her since. But I have to have some kind of mental draw, spiritual draw to a woman as well as sexual. If that woman's got issues, baggage from 100 years, I'm probably not going to be interested in that person. I don't care how beautiful they are.
Well, I think everybody has to have somewhat of an emotional bond. I mean,
sometimes don't.
I don't know of many. I'm sure there are people that will just go to bed with somebody that they cannot stand to be around, that aggravate the crap out of them just to be doing it.
What
I don't think most people are like that.
What about you, Ken? Like, have you been in that situation where you've been with someone that physically they were great, but mentally you thought, I can't, I've got to go?
Oh, sure. I think we all have, if we're honest with ourselves. Yeah, we all have. At my age, if a good-looking woman finds me attractive, two things is wrong. Either she's blind as hell, she needs a seeing eye dog, or she needs glasses. But another thing is this: her blindness can be my advantage. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, her blindness is my advantage. If she thinks I'm good looking or whatever, okay, just don't get your eyes checked, and we'll be okay. I'm just saying.
I think it's important to remember that people run from something they can't handle, right? Sometimes they attack you or they run from something they can't handle. And maybe that is being close to you, and maybe that is being sexually or emotionally close to you. And what they tend to do is project and put it onto you instead. You do this, whatever. And I think it's important to actually realize that this is, as I said, not about you. It is about them. And also, if it is about you, what you can do to change that, because there's obviously a mental block when we reject someone, and it's not just because we're tired or we, whatever. If we reject someone and we're like, no, and it causes a World War III over it. I think as we get older, we understand rejection better than when we did when we were younger, because when we were younger, we're all about ego. But as we get older, we kind of understand, right?
Yeah.
I think we understand, but it doesn't feel any better.
No, it hurts.
I mean, even if you understand why and all this, it still makes you look, kind of doubt yourself.
Yeah, hurt is hurt from 5 to 50. It is, and
where do you stop with your worth? Because at the end of the day, say a guy rejects you continually, and you go and get a pole and you dance around the pole and you do things to try and get him to attract you, or you get the underwear. Where do you take your self-worth until you have to turn around and go, enough is enough? Right? Because you have to put your self-worth into it. I'm offering myself. And when you give yourself to someone, unless you're in a non-relationship type of thing, if you're giving yourself to someone, it's a big thing. And if they're rejecting you again and again, you have to look at your own self-worth and go, I have to take care of me, because this person is taking care of them.
My attitude and everything has changed a lot. The older I get, the more it changes. So,
but like Valerie's daughter said, anymore people are into emotionless sex. They want their friends with benefits. They don't want no emotional baggage that come by for for a Coke and a shag. You know what I'm saying?
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, it's like BRB. Bring your own booze. It's like and I see, a lot of younger people, from the generations coming up behind us, because most of us here are Gen X. Some of us are, what was the one before
I'm
that?
a boomer.
Boomer. Yeah, the baby boomers. And
boomers.
Yeah, and
Ken's a bloomer.
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 Bloomer. But our generation, there was more, I don't know if we was deprived from, rejection. It don't even, and a lot of times the emotional things that you are not available to don't come from being sexual. Why didn't my dad ever hug me? Why didn't he ever tell me I was good? And it could go, with women too. Why did mom want to teach me how to cook? Why didn't she teach me how to sew?
And it's the same in sexual relationships too.
And it is.
Sure.
And a lot of times, and a lot of that bleeds over. If you have emotional damage from something else, it is going to manifest itself when your emotions are at the rawest. And
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, your sexual emotions and your, the pheromones and the endorphins and all this, and she started teasing me about getting my doctorate. And I have a class coming up called Abnormal Psychology, and I told Wendy, I said, I cannot wait to take this class to see why I'm so fucked up in the head. I want to self-diagnose. And you know what? They even told me when I started this, behavioral health science, they said, be really, real careful. You don't self-diagnose. And I have a library on my computer. I can go in if you got any kind
as a therapist, it can be very good.
It is, and I'm like, wow. But
it's a massive subject that we could talk about forever, and I'm sure we will come back to it. And I just want to say thank you to all the guys tonight for coming on and joining Val and I, because Carly and Michelle were, before you guys go, Carly and Michelle were unable to be here, and it's so nice that you could join us. I'm going to take us into a very quick afterglow, because then we can just relax. But I want to thank you guys for being very honest. Scotty, my podcast husband, thank you so much. I know this is an emotive topic. Keith, I always love your input. It's always very grounded, which is brilliant. Michael, obviously, what can I say? You always bring something to it, honey. And Ken, it's so lovely to have you here, because this is the first time we've had you and Scotty on, and I'm going to be saying something to Terry, because Terry's not here.
Terry lost. I don't think Terry has his bellows on tonight. I don't know. I don't
Terry
know
was the one that told me I needed to come in and join you and him.
Yeah, and I just
but hopefully you all will come back.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I hope so, because we've got different topics coming up, and a lot of it is, a lot of people people wonder why we're talking about the 3-letter word, right? Which is Ken brings up, but I also want to say before I go, a lot of people are asking us to follow this, and I have to say to people, please follow Scotty Roberts. So he's on 3 times a week on the Intrepid Radio.
Thank you.
On YouTube. It's very important that he gets as many viewers, and to follow KB on his breakfast show, 5, if you're lucky, 5 mornings a week. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. And Keith, I know he does his own little lives on Facebook, which are great fun and very spiritual. And Val, her show's not up as yet, but it will be. And I'm just
Myth, Legends, and the Paranormal will be back. I'll be back.
Yes, and you can find us all through
Instagram. Give me a heads up, because I come in and try to help Val with that also, because Val always brings an interesting subject. And
I don't think Val needs any help. That woman can take care of herself. She can juggle anything.
But Valerie knows it's a whole lot easier to bounce it off somebody else who can take devil's advocate. Even if I think she's right, I want to tell her she's wrong, just to whatever.
That's just what he does.
Yeah, because that's my whatever.
I hope we've helped anyone tonight that's going through it, and it's a subject we'll come to again. Please join us very quickly for a very, very quick afterglow, and we look forward to. Oh, look, Robert. No, I came on the queue 3 times. You never clicked me in. We didn't see.
There's Terry.
Well, come on in, Terry.
Wendy, what are you doing Tuesday night?
Well, apparently Tuesday night I have a date.
Oh, I think I do too.
I have a date Tuesday night. I almost forgot. Robertson returns on Tuesday night. We have a very, very good show. We are doing a show on Jack the Ripper. We have lots of people coming in to join us. It's going to be fun. We have all being well. Fingers crossed if they can all make it. We have an author from the UK and a Jack the Ripper tour guide. We also have hopefully an author, Jack the Ripper author from America. So it's going to be fun. And I'm back with my hubster.
That's right. That'll be fun. It's been a while. We took what we thought would be, after 26 straight episodes, we took a little break, and then all kinds of hell broke loose in both our lives, different things, health, medical, so on.
We're going to have to come up with a trailer for it as well, because people say to me, where's your trailer for Robertson? So we need to do that. But yes, Tuesday
I'll get one
night,
together.
10 o'clock UK. And I think, what time is it? 4 o'clock where you are, Scotty?
4 p.m. my time, Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. And that would be 2 p.m. Left Coast time. And what would that be in England? That's 10 p.m.
10. It's a late
for
night.
now until daylight savings time.
Yeah, because it's already Monday for her right now.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to quickly go.
I do appreciate Wendy inviting me to come on, and I love it to death. And like I said, I hope you guys, if you get a chance tomorrow, join me for morning coffee.
Absolutely.
And like I'll tell you, we'll talk about anything. We'll talk about politics. We'll talk about the paranormal. We'll talk about the 3-letter word sex. If I know nothing about it, you're not the only one that can fake it. It doesn't matter what you talk about morning coffee with KB, as long as you don't threaten, kill, dismember, or harm anybody. So if you guys get a chance tomorrow morning, join me at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for morning coffee. I mean, I'm just saying. Don't hate the
saying.
It won't never let me. It won't never
Don't
let
be a
me.
Just bear with me
It
one
won't let me.
and relax.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
history is up and gone. She has rolled out.
Val's probably run out for a cigarette or whatever because
Keith
she's
too.
been so good. She's been like trying to get a cigarette. Her and Keith has gone as well.
You're still over on YouTube. It's still broadcasting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. We do.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
take the
okay.
afterglow
Yeah,
there.
the afterglow. Yeah, the afterglow.
But
Afterglow.
thank you guys for coming in. I mean, you've all been brilliant, and for us to come back, you know, like Val and I, we keep in touch with each other, even though we've not been able to be on. It's like, well, you know, this subject was brought to me, and now I've had another person tonight has asked me to cover another subject, and it's like I have to weigh up, like, is this a Wicked Woman one or is this a Roberts one? Because the dynamics are very, very different on Roberts.
Right.
Sometimes it's like Scotty, you know, like we're very, very different. Our dynamics with us, it's all the women. And I think if Carly had been here tonight and Michelle had been
Carly's
here,
a pistol.
there would have been a very different conversation.
But you know, all of the ladies.
We are pretty mild compared, I think.
You know,
Yes.
And I told Wendy this about Michelle. I said, there's something about Michelle. She is so happy and genuine. That is infectious.
Yeah.
You cannot be in a good mood and speak to that woman. Yeah, it is you and not her. You know what I'm saying? That's what I told her. I said, she is just so funny and so down to earth. And she's had her own health issues and stuff.
Yeah, she
And,
had.
and like I said, like with the paperwork and stuff that I'm fighting with now. You know, talking about rejection, you know, how you like to be rejected by the country you're in and the country you want to go to. You know, it's like, holy shit. Say, I'm trying to have sex. You know, they say, like when I went to the doctor, they said, what kind of contraception do you use? I said, long distance relationship in 4,000 miles, 4,080 miles and a big ass ocean. They're like, oh, how does that work? I was like, works pretty damn well right now when you got to get a passport, visa, beg the government that you want to come into to come in. It's like, hey,
well, you know, I mean, some countries are selective about who they bring in, right? They've got their reasons for it.
That's right.
The Brits are really,
They're like,
they've
no,
they never went all around the world starting shit. Say, oh, at one time, the sun never set on the British Empire. We had the biggest navy in
that
the
is
world.
true, and I'm still going to stick to that. I mean, I do believe in promoting your show, Scotty, because, you know, not that I'm saying you need to promote Wicked Women, but I think you might, because you actually don't.
I should do that
promote it
more.
at all.
Yeah, I'll come in and remind him. I'm like,
I forget.
so
I just forget. I don't even promote my own stuff.
I actually sent him it and I said, could you play this? And he was like, and he did. And I was so, you know, because you have to whet people's appetites. And that's why I always tell people at the end of the show, Scotty Roberts on YouTube and Facebook, The Intrepid
I was
Show.
going to play it this morning and I just forgot.
You forgot.
So I forgot.
Even my little show, I try to promote everybody. So,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
there's
really
no
important.
excuse. I'm just saying.
And Keith,
Sure.
tell us a bit about your show, because, you know, I know it's not like a show, but you go on Facebook Live. Tell us about yours.
Oh, I've got a show. I do the Otter's Den every other Monday with Joni Skinner. She talks about astrology. I add in spirituality, and we explain what's going on up there and how it affects us in the spiritual nature, mundane nature, how it affects the earth, you know, the universe. And then I also do Drunken Oracle once every month with Christy Ayers. That's always a fun show. So if you need some laughs, go check it out. We got a Facebook page. It's exactly what it is. We drink, we get drunk, and read.
I saw that.
Nice.
So hilariously badly.
There's a fire.
Nice.
He has this fire, and he's got a bottle, and he's like drinking out of the. Is it Budweiser you drinking in the bar? There's a Budweiser, and he's got a cigarette, and he's like, he's very This man is so grounded. He's so grounded and down to earth, and that's what I love about Keith. He's he's got his shit together. He's not away with the fairies. He's like, this is how it is, and that's very attractive. Very attractive.
Okay, if drinking a bud, smoking a cigarette, sitting around is like spiritual, like we got them all over the place down here because we're like unbelievably spiritual down here.
I've been doing those two things for decades. However, I'm a different person than I used to be.
I need to ask, what is the name of your show, Keith? What is the name of your show?
The Otter's Den, and then again the Drunken Oracle.
The Otter's Den and the Drunken Oracle.
I like
Good
that.
name.
But you know, me and Valerie's talking about drinking a Budweiser or smoking a cigarette. These people have been on disability for 95 years. First of the month, you see them, they're carrying 2 suitcases of shit beer and a cart of cigarettes under each arm. I'm thinking, you can't do a day's work in your life, but you can carry the beer and 2 carts of cigarettes.
Yeah, it's the thing.
I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, they're all
And don't forget all the lottery tickets that are shoved under their arms.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
I got to tell you, I'd go
Chicken
broke
soup
if I were disabled and getting disability, because
Yeah.
I don't drink. No offense to you, Keith, I don't drink swill that is yellow and I can see through it. I like Guinness. I
Be
like
nice, Scotty. Be
what's
nice.
that?
He wants a beer
Yes.
he can chew. He wants a beer that tastes like cereal in his mouth. That's like
Well, you
Yeah.
know, coming
Be,
from the
be
Loaf
nice
of
to my
bread.
people.
coming from the mother country where actually the beer is actually really good.
Yes.
And then coming
I had
out
some
there
great
and
bitters.
tasting some of the Canadian stuff and the American beers, I was kind of like, yeah,
I had some
kinda
great
stick with the
bitters.
mother
Wow.
country.
In the Black Horse Tavern, which there's more than one of those.
Yeah.
Black Horse Tavern on the River Avon outside of Stratford upon Avon. And he served me up some bitters. It was almost black. And I drank it and I go, that's good. What is it? He says, it's called Chudley's and it's right out of the barrel. And he pointed to the barrel. And I kept drinking those all evening. Those were good. Now that's the kind of beer I like.
Barrels, but they're a little different.
I used to think we had good beer here. I did.
Like
some of
tap.
so some of my Australian friends came over, and he said this shit is so weak we'd give it to our kids for stomach aches.
There you go. And no offense at all to you, Keith, for
Yeah,
drinking
none
Budweiser.
taken. None
Yeah,
taken.
I'd say the
I got you,
lowest
Keith.
in my scale of drinking beer, the lowest I would come is probably Sam Adams.
Okay.
I've drunk Sam Adams. I like Newcastle, which is a step up, I think, from Sam Adams.
Newcastle Brown Ale, eh?
Newcastle Brown Ale.
always
Newkeys. What do they
good
call it? Newkeys
Newkeys.
over here. Newkeys.
We call them
Ken's
Newkeys.
phone died, by the way. He didn't leave. His phone died.
Oh,
I
okay.
was going to tell you.
And Scotty,
where I
it's
come
so
from,
nice to
we-
have you here
they don't
today,
drink
by
beer.
the way, because I know you're
They
busy with the children. So thank you.
Yes.
I do appreciate it when the guys come on and give their point of
Not
view.
that I'm saying anything,
Appreciate it
but you
coming
know,
on.
we do appreciate you being here because you did a show today already, Scotty. You already did a show, and it's lovely that you're here with us. I know it's taken up time from the family and kids. But
They're
it's
not
so nice to
here,
have
so
you. Oh, okay.
I've got time tonight. They all went up to Rainey's brother's house to go fishing and hiking in the woods and stuff. I stayed home because I gotta just keep working on the floors up here. Carlene asked if I've ever had a double bag. Yeah,
a double bagger. Oh yeah.
that's the old joke.
Different.
If she's
Never
ugly,
mind.
you put a bag over her head.
Coyote
If it's a
syndrome.
double bagger, it's in case
Yeah.
the first bag rips.
Coyote
Yeah.
syndrome.
Yeah.
You'd rather
You know,
cut your left
you-
arm off than wake it up.
You know,
Yes,
I have
yes.
so good with that. And they'll ask me, "Oh, do you need me to put that in the bag?" I was like, "No, she's not that ugly." And that is my that is my go-to every time somebody asks me a bag. I say, "Oh, do you need a bag for that?" I was like, "No, she ain't that ugly." And then a lot of people at our age get it, but a lot of people's like, "What the fuck you talking about? She ain't that
I
ugly."
don't
It's
understand
just
that.
wrong. It's just wrong.
Carlene sent something about beer, Long Trail beer. I once had a party at my house. Rainey and I had this party because it was after we were together. With this a long time ago, 15, 16, 17 years ago. And I told everybody we had a bar in the basement, and it was Uncle Dave that helped me take that whole basement
bless him.
room and we converted it. It had paneling, wood paneling, faux wood paneling up, but there was a bar. And so I said, I want this, Dave, to look like a 15th, 16th century Irish pub or a British pub. And we took and we put plaster on the walls, just covered up the paneling, and I bought about 24 beams. I think they were 6x6 wooden beams that went floor to ceiling, and we just positioned them every 6 feet around the room and in the corners, and we put the uprights across the ceiling, and we put some diagonals running from some of the beams. We hung lanterns from it, and we painted that plaster. We rough plastered it and painted it like theatrical stage work to look like old plaster with cracks in it, stuff like that. And we converted this downstairs room into probably a 16th century English pub.
Cool.
And
In December, I'll get to see what one of them looks like.
yeah, and we had parties in there all the time. Every Thursday night we had scotch and cookies down there. But I had a party once where I said, everybody, I need everybody who comes tonight, you have to bring some beer, at least a 4-pack. And I said, the rule is it's got to be a beer that's an imported beer that is like a European beer or something that you've never had before and is wildly different than anything that we have in the States. And we had some amazing beers came in then. That's the first night I ever tried Rasputin beer.
What a great name, Rasputin.
Rasputin beer. And
that's someone else that we were
yes.
Sadly, I have to go, but it's like Rasputin is another one that we keep talking about doing it, because he and Alistair Crowley as well. And I wanted to say just a couple of things. I just wanted to thank everybody that sent me messages regarding Henry, because Wicked Women was off the air because Henry was unwell, and he's he's pulling up from meningitis, and he's asleep right now on the sofa beside me, but it's still vulnerable time. So for everybody that has donated or sent thoughts or healing or whatever, I'm just incredibly grateful. He's such a warrior, and Scotty put it out on his show when he got ill, and every little bit counts, and you don't realize that we are a family on screen. And we all help each other, and I'm so grateful, and I'm sure Val is, and Carly and Michelle would be if they're here, to have all you guys come on and talk about your personal experiences and share that with us, because it takes a lot of guts sometimes to open up and talk about things that maybe is personal, and it is private as well. And I try to not go down that rabbit hole, but I want to thank all of you guys for coming on. We've lost Ken, and sadly Terry didn't actually get on, but I hope you'll come and join us again.
Yeah, the Speedo King of Virginia Beaches went MIAs. We're going to send somebody out to go get the Speedo King.
I know that you're probably dying to go and have a cigarette or do something now, so I'm going to play the music out. I look forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday night with my podcaster husband, Scotty Roberts, for Robertson. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook under Robertson, and it'll be 10 o'clock in the UK, 4 and 5. Is that right, ET?
Yeah, 5 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock his time.
Wendy, I do want to say something. We've started thinking about our Halloween show.
We have.
We are dressing up. We are taking suggestions on what you guys think we should dress up as.
Oh my God.
So send us your ideas. And
what would you like to see us dress up as?
What would you all like to see us dress up as?
And Carly, Michelle, we might have some extra guests come on. Kay may come on for that one as well, because she's still part of the crew. That's really beautiful, isn't it?
It is pretty, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure
on Halloween after I spend all this money, I'm going to put it in a box, and if the Royal Mail screws it up, they will be international.
So I'm sure they're going to conjure up a lot of images now for us, Val, because we'll have to do a Robertson Halloween one as well. So,
I will starting. It might be the second week of October. I'm hoping it'll be that soon. I will have some skull lamps and
I need one.
Yeah, some skull lamps with things embeds in their heads.
Val, give them the name of your Etsy store.
It's Cat Chick Designs.
Cat Chick Design
on Etsy.
Cat with a K or a C?
A K.
Cat Chick Designs with a K.
If you've never seen her pyramids, they're gorgeous. And
they are amazing. They are. She is very talented.
I don't know if I'll put the skulls on there right away. I may just post them on my on my
And
Facebook
I
for
said
a while.
pumpkins too. Pumpkins would be really, really,
And
really cool.
and I'm going to try to figure out how to make a pumpkin with a light in it. So
I think that
Cool.
would be cool.
What do you call
was
it?
I gonna say?
Decoupage? I cannot believe that I know that word, decoupage or whatever. Like when you do the furniture, 'cause
decoupage.
yeah. She does a lot of the furniture.
Well, yeah, I do that too. But now the skulls will be the epoxy, and they'll have the embeds inside the skull. I'm working on
Now,
a
can you
snow globe inside the skull.
can you embed lights like into the bottom so you can
Yeah.
put lights and change light bulbs and stuff? Oh, very cool.
And I'll have the lights are about like this. They're LED. The ones
Mhm.
that you can use the remote and change the light, change the colors.
This woman's very talented. Keith,
Yeah.
have you seen her work at all?
Yes.
You should have a look at some of the stuff she does. So are you doing a show tonight, Keith, before we go? Are you doing something tonight?
No, not tonight. We have the Otter's Den though tomorrow night at 7 Central.
Otter's Den. I'm really hoping to be back on Strangely Us because Mark has been in America and people keep saying, when are you bringing Strangely Us back? And I'm like, it's not me. Well, it is me actually, but it's been Mark as well. So it's just, I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming on here. And I can't do the live long and prosper, but I'm just going to say, take care of each other, take care of each other and yourselves. And I will see you on Tuesday and I will see the rest of you next week. Thank
See you, Wendy. Love you.
Love you too.